Make that low real quick. Yeah, turn it. All right, that's good. Barack, call it.
I'm about to run him out the door. Repeat after me. Shaga'a.
Shaga'a.
Walk Maya.
Walk Maya.
Manasathar.
Manasathar.
Nakwa.
Nakwa.
Anya.
Anya.
Sha'al.
Sha'al.
Kakma.
Kakma.
Kazak.
Kazak.
Layakal.
Layakal.
Kakya.
Kakya.
Maganya.
Maganya.
Tazawari.
Tazawari.
Nathanya.
Nathanya.
Kakma.
Kakma.
Napash.
Napash.
Sahawar.
Tahor.
Lalab.
Lalab.
Tabawan.
Tabawan.
La'a.
La'a.
Shakak.
Shakak.
Ibad.
Ibad.
Yamya.
Yamya.
Ba'ay.
Ba'ay.
Shaw.
Shaw.
Makasawar.
Makasawar.
Ibar.
Ibar.
La'awar.
La'awar.
Shamash.
Shamash.
Wala.
Wala.
Yarad.
Yarad.
Yarak.
Yarak.
Zakari.
Zakari.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Gawak.
Gawak.
Ma'awan.
Ma'awan.
Tazara.
Tazara.
Ka'ab.
Ka'ab.
Wa.
Wa.
Chaya.
Chaya.
Hayanawa.
Hayanawa.
Hawalam.
Hawalam.
Bahasham.
Bahasham.
Yamya.
Yamya.
Ya.
Ya.
Babakar.
Babakar.
Yalad.
Lalad.
Shah Yahweh.
Shah Yahweh.
Yahweh Shai.
Yahweh Shai.
La'a.
La'a.
Aman.
Aman.
This is the translation. You make all things better. It is of the Lord's mercies we are not consumed, because his compassions fail not. They are new every morning. Great is thy faithfulness. Who can understand his errors? Cleanse thou me from secret faults. I ask for wisdom, strength, protection, your power, O my shield, my rock. Give me wisdom, a sound mind, an understanding heart. Forsake not your servants in the time of need, to the sun rising and the moon setting. Remember me, O my God, my help in the time of trouble. In the name of your right hand, the chosen and begotten of the Father, in Yahweh's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right, shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom. Yo. Shalom, shalom. What up? How y'all brothers doing today, man? Before we get into it, anybody got, a current event or two? I'll do 2 current events. Anybody got? Before we get into it? I know Barack got a million, but anybody else got any? Nobody got no current events? You got one?
I think Saudi Arabia joining Brexit, I think. BRICS, yeah.
Yep.
That's some crazy stuff there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Sean, you got any current events? What you watching?
They got the American government's planning to they're unveiling like a cryptocurrency for the USD. Like everybody got like Bitcoin, Ethereum.
Yep.
They got like they're coming out with like one for American dollar, and they're basing it on like social status. So say like
Kind of like China.
yeah, exactly. It's
Okay.
the same thing. So
Okay. So today we're gonna today's class is anti-Semitism, the propaganda behind it. We're also gonna get into a little bit of iconoclasm and identity theft. That's all leading to that quote-unquote New World Order. All right? Can somebody close and lock that door? All right. Let's get Ephesians 6 and 12.
This is Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities.
But against principalities, go ahead.
Against powers.
Go ahead.
Against the rulers of the darkness of this world.
Against the rulers of the darkness of this world. And that's the people that's ruling the world today. Just as we're God's chosen people, Salakia, yo, that's bothering me. Just as we're God's chosen people, right? Satan also has a chosen people. You know what I'm saying? So it's something you have to keep in your mind. All right? Finish it up.
Against spiritual wickedness in high places.
Against spiritual wickedness in high places. All right? And the people that rule this world today, they're doing a lot more than just saying, let's just put drugs in the neighborhood. Or let's just shoot them down. Or mass incarceration. Everything that is in the physical realm has a spirit aspect to it. You understand that? Every single thing. And that's one thing Yahweh Shai it definitely talks about how the spirit leaves and it wanders and it comes back to an empty house. Right? Everybody understand that? All right, let's go to 1 Corinthians 4 and 13.
First Corinthians chapter 4, verse 13.
Go ahead.
Being defamed, we entreat.
Say it again.
Being defamed, we entreat.
Now, this is the era that we're living in. We're defamed. Not just by our family members and our wives, okay? Because we are defamed by our wives. Because our wives know our nakedness. They do. They know the insecurities we have. They know the weaknesses we have, so on and so forth. Right? Because they do. But we are being defamed by them. Just like we're being defamed by our family members. I still get called a Muslim. You know, I say that almost every time I teach. I still get called a Muslim. But now we're being defamed by who? The world. Because now we're listen, all lights and all cameras is on the Israelites right now.
Definitely.
You understand that? Everybody's watching us. Seeing what we're doing, waiting for us to fall, waiting for us to sin, waiting for us to turn our back on the Lord. So now it's even more time to do what you have to do for the Lord and take this opportunity to push this gospel to the forefront. Yawasap was an opportunist. He took opportunities, right? When he seen when something was going on, he said, okay, I'm going to take that opportunity to push this gospel. You understand? Read it again from the top.
So 1 Corinthians 4 and 13, being defamed,
go ahead.
We entreat.
Go ahead.
We are made as the filth of the world.
We are made as what?
The filth of the world.
You see, and we being made as the filth of the world. That's why they're calling us terrorists and a hate group. I didn't know it was hateful to love my people more than anybody else. I didn't know that was hateful. And now I love my people more than anybody else, and I do for my people more than anybody else, but now we're a hate group. I guess I'm hateful then. Keep reading.
And are the offscoring of all things unto this day.
Go ahead.
I write not these things to shame you, but as my beloved sons, I warn you.
You see, he didn't write these things to shame you, but to warn you, to prepare. You have to prepare for these days. We've been talking about this before we even had this school. About how these days will come. And the gospel will be pushed to the forefront and preached upon the rooftops and be spread across the earth. And the men in here know what I'm talking about. We've labored for years. Before we was on the YouTube, before Clubhouse was ever made, it was us. In a room in a house, breaking down the gospel, going to the street corners and teaching for years. You understand? So Paul was writing this to the churches, which is your modern day camps and schools, and warning you. You understand? Let's get editions of Esther. Right? Let's go to the editions of Esther and the Apocrypha. Let me see, because it's different on my phone. It's different on my phone and the book. Let me see what I want. I think it's 14, maybe? Let me see. Yeah, 14. Hold on. 13 and 3.
The editions of Esther, chapter 13, 3. Now when I asked my counselors how this might be brought to pass, Aman.
Now everybody knows who Haman is, right? He was the Edomite, right? That was second in command underneath the Persian Empire from Macedonia in Greece. Okay, read.
That excelled in wisdom among us, and was approved for his constant goodwill and steadfast fidelity.
Go ahead.
And had the honor of the second place in the kingdom.
So he was a nobleman amongst the Persians. Okay, read.
Verse 4. declared unto us
Go ahead.
that in all nations throughout the world there was scattered a certain malicious people.
And say it again.
Declared unto us that in all nations throughout the world there was scattered a certain malicious people.
Through all nations out the world, there was scattered a malicious people, hateful people, evil people. Read.
That had laws contrary to all nations.
That had laws that were opposite and contrary to all nations. Come on.
And continually despised the commandments of kings.
And continually despise the commandments of kings. Read.
So as the uniting of our kingdoms, honorably intended by us, cannot go forward. Seeing then we understand that this people alone is continually in opposition unto all men.
You see that? These people are continually in opposition to all men. That's exactly what they're saying about us today. These people, this malicious people, this hate group, is contrary to everything that we're doing. Everything. Everything we're teaching, all the history, and they're just completely opposite, and they're just making stuff up. You know? Saying that they're not the real Jews. They're anti-Semitic. Read.
Deferring in the strange manner of their laws.
And we're deferring in the strange manner of our laws. That's why they look at us like we're crazy. What is that on the side of your pants? What is that on your garments? Why do you have that damn what are they? Nataro? Why you got that headpiece on? Listen. I remember I was walking to camp one day. They was like, "What is there, a Nataro convention?" I said, "Get the hell out of my face. Get out of my face." And I kept walking. I don't know what it's called. Nataro. I don't know. Some anime weird shit. Salaki. Naruto? There you go, Naruto. Salaki. I knew one of y'all knew it on the low. On the low, one of y'all knew it. Read.
And evil affected to our state.
Go ahead.
Working all the mischief they can.
Working all the mischief they can. And that's how they portray us. They work all the mischief that we can. What is so wrong about telling a black, Hispanic, and Native American man, woman, and child, don't murder, don't steal, honor your mother and your father, keep a dietary law for health? What are you talking about? But it's so against their nature, which is not natural. It's so against their agenda, because they know what? If they keep us in sin, they keep their kingdom. Finish it up.
Wow.
That our kingdom may not be firmly established.
That our kingdom may be firmly established. This is what they're scared of. This is what they're terrified of. What you got?
What's Psalm 2:16?
Hold it. I think I got that later. Hold it. So you see that? That their kingdom may not be firmly established. This is what they're terrified of. They're not scared of a gun, right? They have tanks. I say this all the time. Our guns that we got in our cribs is toys to them. You understand that? It's a toy to them. Now, pull up that article.
Yo, there's an echo coming from here. I don't know what it is.
Pull up that article. Make it big out. Baba Kushar. Pause. I had to say pause with that one. Go ahead, read that, Brock.
Says the American Empire and its media.
The American Empire and its media. You see, I'm going to go into all this on purpose. And everything is going to make sense. Right? Everything is going to make sense. You know, America learned how to use their propaganda from who? From Hitler. Hitler learned how to build concentration camps from who? Where the Americans had Native Americans at. Read a book. Read the Mein Kampf. The book that's banned in all the libraries in America. Order it. And you'll see what Hitler's blueprint was the blueprint of how America enslaved and incarcerated and kept them in their own certain place as they did the Native Americans. This is a fact. Read that out.
Says, largely unbeknownst to the general public, many media executives and top journalists of almost all major U.S. news outlets,
Go ahead.
political and business magazines,
Come on.
public broadcasters, and press agencies have long been members of the Council on Foreign Relations.
They are all these people that own this, and their CEOs and presidents, they're all part of what? The Council on Foreign Relations. So all of them are hand in hand. When they talk about, the right wing and left wing, it's two wings on the same bird. They talk about all these things. You understand? But they all work together. Joseph in the spirit. They all work together. He said, amen, brother. He sprinkled a little Christianity in here real quick. Nah, I'm playing with you out. But they all work hand in hand together. You understand that? Keep reading.
It says, established in 1921 as a private bipartisan organization to awaken America to its worldwide responsibilities, the CFR and its close to 5,000 elite members have for decades shaped U.S. foreign policy.
They what?
For decades shaped U.S. foreign policy.
They have shaped U.S. foreign policy. Come on.
And public discourse about it.
And public discourse about it. It's social engineering. This is what they're saying in a nice, fancy, beautiful way. Social engineering. Come on.
As one council member famously explained, the goal has indeed been to establish an empire, albeit a benevolent one.
To establish an empire, a benevolent one. Come on.
It says, based on official membership rosters, the following illustration for the first time depicts the extensive media network of the CFR and its two main international affiliate organizations, the Bilderberg Group.
The what?
The Bilderberg Group.
The Bilderberg Group. Who's the Bilderberg Group? Small hats. The ish people. Come on.
Covering the U.S. and Europe.
Covering the U.S. and Europe. Go ahead.
And the Trilateral Commission covering North America, Europe, and East Asia, both established by council leaders to foster elite cooperation at the international level.
You see that? So these people are in charge of all these things. And you see that little map right there? You don't got to go no further. Keep it right there. You see that little map right there in the article? How they control everything. Everything you see. Everything you see, they control it. Okay? Now let's go to the next article.
They want to be God.
Let's go to the next article.
Gracious.
Blow it up a little bit out so Barack will read it. You can do that. You can take the whole screen if you want. Huh? Read that.
This is from the Jewish Telegraphic Agency.
The what?
The Jewish Telegraphic Agency.
Amalek Telegraphic Agency. Go ahead.
It says the FBI reports credible threat to New Jersey synagogues, urging them to take all security precautions.
Read the date on that.
It says November 3rd, 2022.
What happened around that time? Kyrie and Kanye. And then they create a false flag. Read it again. Go all the way back to the top. Huh? Back to the title. We're not even going to read this. We're not even going to read it. Just go back to the top. The title, Baba Kushan. Good luck, Top.
It says FBI reports credible threat to New Jersey synagogues, urging them to take all security precautions.
So right after the whole Kanye thing's going on, the Kyrie Irving thing's going on, you got the brothers in the school of IUIC marching down on them, right? All praise to them brothers for putting in that work. Now you got all that going on, and what? They creating false flags. FBI reports credible threat, but nothing happened. They're doing this on purpose. Just the same way they put us in movies and they make us look dumb and make us look crazy, right? They're doing all of this on purpose. It's social engineering. It's propaganda. Let's go to the next one, huh? Where's this from?
This is from the Jewish Journal.
The Amalek Journal. Go ahead.
It says, Black Hebrew Israelites chant "We are the real Jews" in support of Kyrie Irving.
You see that? Now let's go down. There's a certain part of this article I want to go down to. Right? They're preparing.
Yes, sir.
It is full screen. Oh, right here? Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, let's see.
Now we can.
You could, there you go.
Keep going down, Doc. Let's see. Look at the brothers right there marching. Keep going down. Let me see. Let me open up the article on my phone. I'm gonna tell you exactly what I want. Right there. Go up a little bit. Go up a little bit. Down. Where the words is at. Read that right there. Up allá. A little up, right there. Go.
Says the American Jewish Committee tweeted that the chanting amplified a troubling anti-Semitic trope with dangerous potential. We cannot allow this supremacist ideology.
We cannot what?
Allow this supremacist ideology to spread and gain greater acceptance, they wrote.
You see that? They're scared.
Shook.
They're terrified.
Shook.
You understand? Scroll down a little bit. Scroll down a little bit.
Shook.
Right there. That's what I want. Right there. That's what I want. Yeah, read that in the article.
Says writer and policy analyst A.V. Meyer tweeted, "Jews will not replace us, and we are the real Jews."
Mm-hmm. Damn right, we the real Jews. We are the real Israelites. You're a bunch of converts from Khazaria, right? You're a bunch of converts from Poland and Germany. You're not the real Jews, and you had the best hand and the most aggressive hand in slavery. You did, and I'm gonna show that in a future class. A bunch of sources showing y'all were the main slave traders and slave owners. Who owns all the banks? And how did all those banks get funded? By plantations. You think about it. Read that out from the top.
Says writer and policy analyst A.V. Meyer tweeted, "Jews will not replace us. We are the real Jews," are two sides of the same anti-Semitic coin. No surprise, former neo-Nazi and KKK leader.
So a former neo-Nazi and a KKK leader, all right? People that hung people, castrated people, beat us down in the streets, sick dogs on us. Have we done that?
No.
You know what we say? When Christ comes back, you're going in chains. When Christ comes back, I'm whipping your ass. When Christ comes back, you're finished. Get it? Cash, I heard that.
No surprise, former neo-Nazi and KKK leader Tom Metzger said the Black Hebrew Israelites.
The Black Hebrew Israelites
are the black counterparts of us.
Are the black counterparts of the KKK? You see that? This is in the Jewish Journal. You see that? They're getting ready. You understand? They're getting ready. Now, you could get out of that. You could get out of that. Now, there's a couple main things that they label you anti-Semitic, right? There's a couple things, right? One thing is, for the statistics, Jews are only 2% of the population. right? But have the most power in the world. You say that, you're anti-Semitic. But it's the truth. You are 2% of the world, but you own like 99% of it. Let's be honest. That's one. Another one is denying the Holocaust. Right? That's another one.
You gotta get canceled, man.
If you deny, hey man, if you deny the Holocaust, right? If you deny that, you're labeled anti-Semitic. And another one is denying that they are the real Jews. Those are just the three main components. There's a couple other components, of course. But the three main components, if you say these things, you're labeled anti-Semitic. All right? And what they do is, any history that is written against their agenda is labeled as propaganda or falsified and forgery documents. Like the Protocols of Zion that was found where in Russia. What did they say? It's fake. That's bullshit. Talking about. But everything in the Protocols of Zion, it's in the back of the school, by the way. Anything in the Protocols of Zion has came to pass. All of it. So how is it fake if that's what you're doing in the world? Now, let's go to the next article, right? Let's go to the next one. I'm going to show you something that they say is fake. But, Lord in Christ, if this is fake, I don't know what's real then. Blow that up, the whole screen. The whole screen. Anybody know who Albert Pike is?
He started the Masonic.
The 33rd degree Freemason, right? He was a Jew. That's what he was. He was a Jew. He was also part of the Jesuit order. All right? Very influential and powerful person. He was one of the people that influenced what? Even the further translations of the Bible. He influenced Westcott and Hort. He influenced the forming of the Watchtower Society, which eventually became Jehovah's Witness. He influenced, what's them niggas called? Joseph Smith with the Mormonism. He influenced Seventh-day Adventists.
Wow.
Right here, Albert Pike. All right? Shout out to Albert Pike. All right? Top Duke Edomite. Now this, he is doing Satan's work. You're damn right. Now, Albert Pike wrote a letter to Mazzini. And he talked about 3 world wars that they wanted to establish and accomplish to usher in their new world order. Okay? Now this document was said it was falsified. It's a lie. That can't be true. But let's just read what he said and let you judge for yourself. I'm not saying it's true. I don't know. But let's just read it. All right? Yeah, start reading that out.
It says, Albert Pike letter to Mazzini, the Illuminati plan for 3 world wars, August 15, 1871.
Go ahead.
It says, the following is a letter that speculation claimed that Albert Pike wrote to Giuseppe Mazzini in 1871 regarding a conspiracy involving 3 world wars that were planned in an attempt to take over the world.
That were planned in an attempt to take over the world. Okay?
The Pike letter to Giuseppe Mazzini was on display in the British Museum Library in London until 1977.
Okay?
This letter has been claimed by many internet sites to reside in the British Library in London, which denies the letter exists.
Which deny the letter exists. So hold on. It was on display in the museum library, but now all of a sudden it doesn't exist. Okay, yeah, keep reading.
It says Giuseppe Mazzini was an Italian revolutionary leader,
A Roman,
of the mid-1800s, as well as the director of the Illuminati.
Come on.
Albert Pike, a historical Mason figure, was a 33rd degree Mason, occultist, Grand Master, and creator of the southern jurisdiction of the Masonic Scottish Rite Order.
Go ahead.
Following are apparently extracts from the letter showing how 3 world wars have been planned for many generations.
Now let's read. All we're going to read is the First World War, the Second World War, and the Third. And let's see if the First World War makes sense, the Second one makes sense, and what's happening now, which is going to usher in the Third World War. Let's see if it actually is true. Come on, read that.
It says the First World War must be brought about in order to permit the Illuminati to overthrow the power of the Tsars in Russia
Ah.
and of making that country a fortress of atheistic communism.
Go ahead.
The divergences caused by the agents of the Illuminati between the British and Germanic empires.
Between the what?
British and Germanic empires.
Now, who warred in World War I from 1914 to 1918? And we're going to talk about how that war ended. All right? It was mainly Britain and Germany, and the fall of Russia becoming a communist empire. You understand that? And the czars getting pushed out. You know who the czars were? Israelites. That's who they were. Why do you think all the images in Russia were people of dark skin? You understand that? This is what they said they wanted to stop. Finish it up.
Says of the Illuminati between the British and Germanic empires will be used to foment this war.
Go ahead.
At the end of the war, communism will be built and used in order to destroy the other governments in order to weaken the religion.
So communism will be built to destroy other governments and weaken religions. And through this communism, what began to get pushed in the forefront in the 20s with communism? Atheists, agnostic, textual criticism. None of this is real. Big Bang Theory, evolution. This mainly began to get pushed right after World War I. Before World War I, it was there, but they looked at you like you were dumb if you mentioned these. Like, what are you talking about? That doesn't make any sense. But after World War I, it was pushed to the forefront, to the point that in the 20s, what did they take out of the school system in America? The Bible. All right? Let's go to World War II.
The Second World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences between the fascists and the political Zionists. This war must be brought about so that Nazism is destroyed and that the political Zionism be strong enough to institute a sovereign state of Israel and Palestine.
Oh, hold on. Read that again. Read that again. I'm sorry. Read it again from the top.
Says the Second World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences between the fascists and the political Zionists.
Between the fascists and the political Zionists. Go ahead.
This war must be brought about so that Nazism is destroyed and that the political Zionism be strong enough to institute a sovereign state of Israel in Palestine.
And then Israel can be set up after this war. Come on.
During the Second World War, international communism must become strong enough in order to balance Christendom,
Go ahead.
which would then be restrained and held in check until the time when we would need it for the final social cataclysm.
When we will need it to the final social cataclysm. So Christians will be in check and be controlled. Now, you see that happened. After World War II, 1948, they invade Palestine and take all of the dark people out of there. All right? Because there was a lot of dark people in Palestine, by the way. And they took all of them out of there and established the Jewish or the Israel state. That's what it is. It's a state. And they established that there through what? The Balfour Declaration. Well, we're going to get into that a little bit later. All right? Read that.
The Third World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences caused by the agentur of the Illuminati between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world.
And the what?
And the leaders of the Islamic world.
And the leaders of the Islamic world. Isn't that not what's happening now? You got Islam and what? Well, you got Palestinians throwing rocks and damn Amalekites throwing missiles. And Iran forming up in Saudi Arabia. This is what's going on. Read.
Says the war must be conducted in such a way that Islam, the Muslim Arabic world, and political Zionism, the state of Israel, mutually destroy each other.
And they want them to destroy each other. That's what they want them to do. All right? Read the next paragraph.
Meanwhile, the other nations, once more divided on this issue, will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economical exhaustion.
So while the other nations are divided on this issue, it's going to create a complete turmoil in the world. This is World War III. Go ahead.
It says, we shall unleash the nihilists and the atheists,
The nihilists and the atheists. Go ahead.
and we shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm, which in all its honor will show clearly to the nations the effect of absolute atheism, origin of savagery, and of the most bloody turmoil.
And of the most bloody turmoil. So we can stop there, right? Let's go to the next article. Let's go to the next article. Next article. Let's talk about it.
It's like they created an opposite Bible, a left-hand Bible that's depicting all the wicked.
Absolutely, because in the Talmud, what it says is they have to tell you what they're going to do before they do it. That's the only way it's justified. So what they do is they tell you the wickedness that they're going to do, so then it's justified. It's not committed as a sin onto them, because we warned you. It's literally what it says. Go ahead, read that.
It says the origin of the word anti-Semitism.
Go ahead.
It says today, January 22nd, has been earmarked for an informal meeting of the United States General Assembly on the growth of anti-Semitism. It would be possible for Jewish Treats, in its limited 300-word form, to discuss the history of anti-Semitism, or even the proposed causes for it. Jewish Treats will, however, provide the interesting history of the word anti-Semitism.
Go ahead.
The term Semite, which was first used in 1781 to define languages related to Hebrew, initially referred to people of Near East origin.
You see that? So Semite was related to the people of the Near East origin. Right? They also, the Coptic languages and certain languages of modern day Ethiopia is also referred to as Semitic languages. So they were at this time referred to as Semitic people. All right, read.
Says the term Semite, which was used in 1781 to define languages related to Hebrew, initially referred to people of Near East origin. The word Semite is derived from the name Shem, the son of Noah.
Go ahead.
Abraham was a descendant of Shem. While there are varying groups who can be termed Semitic, anti-Semitism is specifically the hatred and persecution of Jews.
Now it is turned to the hatred and persecution of Jews. Read.
Anti-Semitism came about in its Germanic form.
In its Germanic form. Go ahead.
In the mid-19th century.
Go ahead.
In 1860, an Austrian Jewish scholar, Moritz Stein-Schneider, introduced the term anti-mystique verutule, which is anti-Semitic prejudices. He used the expression in the piece he wrote countering the ideas of French philosopher Ernest Renan, who claimed that the Semitic race was inferior to the Aryan race.
Go ahead.
The term anti-Semitism was made common by Wilhelm Marr, a German publicist and agitator. Unfortunately, his 1879 pamphlet, The Way to Victory Over Germanism Over Judaism, in which he used the term anti-Semitism, was very popular. That same year, Marr founded the League of Anti-Semites. It is interesting to note that Marr's first 3 wives, he was married 4 times, were all of Jewish lineage, and that in 1891, he published an essay titled Testament of an Anti-Semite, apologizing for his mistaken anti-Semitic notions.
Keep reading.
There are 2 schools of thought on whether this term should be hyphenated or not. In America, it is most common to hyphenate it, so it is hyphenated in this tree.
You see that? So that's just a brief little history on the origin of anti-Semitism. And you see how it's evolved today. And it's became a complete propaganda political weapon that they use and enforce it on people. And as soon as you say something bad about them, you're anti-Semitic. Well, I'm Semitic. You're Semitic too, because you're an Edomite. You are. So don't talk about me. I'm going to use that term. You're anti-Semitic. Because I'm the Semite. I'm the Jew. I'm the Israelite. I'm the son of God. You're the son of Satan. You understand? You're the children of Lucifer. That's what you are. You understand that? So that's just a brief history. So now there has to be some things understood on World War I, right? Anybody knows how World War I ended? Nobody? Now, Germany lost the war, right? And Germany became extremely impoverished. But how did they surrender? Because, you know, people that were literally fighting out of nowhere found out Germany surrendered while they're fighting. Like, what? And they were very mad. And Germany became one of the poorest countries in Europe. While less than 5% of the population being Jews began to own everything in Germany, and Austria, and Poland. Now, a small group of citizens, right? This is what history will tell you. Formed their own little government and made a treaty. And it was passed through the laws of Britain and America and France and Russia. So the actual German government did not know what the hell was going on. Right? Now we're going to read something that's going to give you a brief history of it. Bring up the next article. Bring up the next article. Stab in the back myth. Now that's what they began to call it. Because the Germans felt stabbed in the back because they didn't even know why they surrendered if they were actually winning the war. Okay? If you study World War I intensely, anybody needs to let me know, I'll let you know what books to read from. If you study World War I intensely, you will see Germany was winning. And out of nowhere surrendered. Read that out.
It says the stab in the back myth was an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory that was...
See, it's an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. You see how they keep doing this? Anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. Okay. Read.
That was widely believed and promulgated in Germany after 1918. It maintained that the Imperial Germans World War I on the battlefield.
You see, they didn't lose World War I on the battlefield, but, go ahead.
But was instead betrayed by certain citizens on the home front.
Certain citizens on the home front. Go ahead.
Especially Jews.
Jews. Because if you look at the people that were in this committee, they were Jewish. Read.
It says, revolutionary socialists who fomented strikes and labor unrest, and other Republican politicians who had overthrown the House of Hohenzollern in the German Revolution of 1918 through 1919. The advocates of the myth denounced the German government leaders who had signed the Armistice of November 1918 as the November criminals.
Now you can stop there. Now, this got to be understood because this began to fuel a certain hatred for the Germans and the Jews because they felt betrayed. Then you fast forward to about 1932, 1933, and the rise of the fascist party, the socialist organization that eventually formed into what? The Nazis, right? And the Nazis rise up in Europe, and in a matter of 2 years, Germany becomes the richest country on earth and pulls America out of the Great Depression. All right? They don't tell you this history, okay? And Adolf Hitler, of course, begins to put these Amalekites in ghettos, right? And if you look up the history, if it was so rough, why did these ghettos and concentration camps, they had plays and sports teams and schools, tennis courts. Why did they have that? See, these are things you got to think about because it's all propaganda. And then through the fall of Nazi Germany, right? What happens? They go right into Palestine. They stick a nice flag in the ground and say, we're the real Jews. There's a lot of history behind it, but this is what happened. See, when you look at these videos and pictures of these skinny ass white people, they persecuted us, right? When you see those pictures, now let me give you the outline of what happened after D-Day. Anybody knows what D-Day is? Right? D-Day is the invasion of Normandy from America. So America invades Normandy, and that's how they entered into the war in Europe. They were already fighting in Japan, but they enter in the war of Europe by D-Day. That's what it's called. Look it up. And through that, what they did was all day, every day, during the daytime, American aircraft will bomb all the vast amount of railroad systems that Germany built all throughout Europe, going into Russia, going all the way as far into France. Because at that time, they also ruled over France. That's how far Germany conquered Europe. And in the nighttime, the British were bombing at the nighttime, right? Certain strongholds and a bunch of railroads. Now, let me ask you something logical. Now, if the railroad systems are bombed and you're in the middle of war, you're getting invaded by America and Britain from the Western Front, right? You're also getting invaded by America and Britain and Canada by the Southern Front because Germany also began to rule in North Africa. So they're also pushing up, now they're invading through Italy. And then you're getting invaded from Russia through the Eastern Front. Are you going to worry about a bunch of people in the concentration camp? So what begins to happen? Starvation. So now you have the railroad systems bombed. And they can't get food to these people. But what are they going to worry about? They're going to worry about their soldiers to try to win war in the front. So when America eventually goes and finds these Jews in these ghettos and in these camps, what do they see? They see people starving by the hand of Americans, by the hand of the British and the Russians, because they bombed the railroads so the food can no longer enter into Germany. That's the truth behind it. You understand that? That's the truth of what really happened. Now let's go to this next article. And once again, if anybody need any books on it, I got a whole lot.
Heavy.
Yeah, get that. Benjamin H. Friedman. Get my mans. Come on, limit the talking. Yeah, read that.
Says Benjamin Harris Friedman was an American businessman, Holocaust denier.
He was a Holocaust denier. He was anti-Semitic, yeah.
And vocal anti-Zionist. Born in a Jewish family.
He was what?
Born in a Jewish family.
He was a Jew that said the Holocaust, it didn't happen the way they telling you it happened. It's a lie. Go ahead.
It says, born in a Jewish family, he converted from Judaism to Roman Catholicism.
Go ahead.
Outside of political activism, Friedman was a partner in a dermatological institute and investor for small businesses.
Now, I want to get a brief history of who this man is, right? You don't gotta get no more. Let's go to the next link. And also, Abayak, before we go into this videos, because you know how they do with us, let's get the fair use disclaimer. Baba Kusha. Let's get that fair use disclaimer on Google. I pray you understand, Barack. Let's get that fair use going. So you know what happened last time? They shut us down a couple times. Yeah. Pull out a look. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of Copyright Act 1947. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use. You hear that, Esau? For fair use. Salakia. For purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. So leave me the hell alone.
Wow.
Leave me alone. All right, let's get to this video, man. Let's try to get this going.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are about to hear a very frightening speech.
Go ahead.
This speech is an explanation of the plans now being laid to throw the United States into a third world war. It was made a short time ago before a large group in the congressional room of the Willard Hotel in Washington, D.C. Both the speech and the question and answer period later so electrified the audience that a group of patriots has transferred it to 2 long-playing records which you may buy to play for friends, clubs, and your church groups in your community. The speaker is Mr. Benjamin Friedman, noted authority on Zionism and all of its schemes. Mr. Friedman is a former Jew, and I mean a former Jew. He has fought the communist world conspiracy tooth and nail and stands today as a leading American patriot. We now take you to the speaker's platform to present Benjamin Friedman.
What I intend to tell you tonight is something that you have never been able to learn from any other source. And what I tell you now concerns not only you, but your children and the survival of this country and Christianity. I'm not here just to dish up a few facts to send up your blood pressure, but I'm here to tell you things that will help you preserve what you consider the most sacred thing in the world, the liberty and the freedom and the right to live as Christians, where you have a little dignity and a little right to pursue the things that your conscience tells you are the right thing as Christians. Now, first of all, I'd like to tell you that on August 25th, 1960, that was shortly before election, Senator Kennedy, who is now the President of the United States, went to New York and delivered an address to the Zionist Organization of America. In that address, to reduce it to its briefest form, he stated that he would use the armed forces of the United States to preserve the existence of the regime set up in Palestine by the Zionists, who are now in occupation of that area. In other words, Christian boys are going to be yanked out of their homes, away from their families, and sent abroad to fight in Palestine against the Christian and Muslim Arabs who merely want to return to their homes. And these Christian boys are going to be asked to shoot to kill these innocent people who only want to follow out 15 resolutions passed by United Nations in the last 12 years, calling upon the Zionists to allow these people to return to their homes. Now, when the United States troops appear in the Middle East to fight with the Zionists as their allies to prevent the return of these people who were evicted from their homes in the 1948 armed insurrection by the Zionists who were transplanted there from Eastern Europe, when that happens, the United States will trigger World War III. You say, when will that take place? The answer is
All right, you can stop it. So you see that right there, right? That's all we're gonna see on that. That's all we're gonna hear on that. So you see a Jew, all right, Benjamin H. Friedman, letting you know the truth about what happened in 1948. You understand that? And the truth on what's gonna happen in the future and how this is gonna usher in World War III. And how America backs up Israel more than any other place in the world. You understand that? All right. All right. Let's go to Psalms chapter 38 and verse 12. Psalms 38 and 12. So you see this political agenda that they continue to play, and how anytime you speak against them, it's propaganda. Anytime you say they're not the Jews, it's a lie, and so on and so forth. You see the game that they're playing, but they can't stop the truth. You got to talk up if you're going to talk.
You're going to mess up their agenda.
Right.
This is Psalms chapter 38, verse 12.
Go ahead.
They also that seek after my life lay snares for me.
You see, and that's why they lay snares for us. Right? Once again, that's social engineering. They make you think you're nothing but a nigga, a spick, a coon, a gangbanger. Right? And they lay snares for you. Go ahead.
And they that seek my hurt speak mischievous things.
And they speak mischievous things. Come on.
And imagine deceits all the day long.
And they imagine deceits, lies. How can we further this agenda? How can we further this lie? How can we continue to keep these people under our foot? Make these people think, just smoke weed and, so what if he's gay? Just love is love. Love is love. All right? This is what they want you to believe, man. Let's go to Daniel. All right? 9 and 26. Daniel chapter 9 and verse 26.
This is Daniel chapter 9, verse 26.
Go ahead. You quick on the sword today, boy. Go ahead.
And after 62 weeks,
Go ahead.
shall Messiah be cut off.
Who's this? Yawasap. Go ahead.
But not for himself.
But not for himself. Go ahead.
And the people of the prince.
Who's the people of the prince? No. Esau. Prove it. Esau. I don't know. Prove it. John chapter 14 and verse 30. I said 30. So lock in. 30. John 14 and 30. Let's get that.
This is John chapter 14, verse 30.
Go ahead.
Hereafter I will not talk much with you. For the prince of this world cometh.
For the prince of this world cometh. Who's the prince of this world? Shaitan, Satan. So this is how you know the white man is the people of Satan. Because it says, and the people of the prince. The Bible says they're the devil. Not me. The Bible says they're the chosen people of Satan. Not me. Let's go back to Daniel. Start in the people of the prince. Start right there.
And the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary.
I shall destroy the city and the sanctuary. Go ahead.
And the end thereof shall be with a flood.
And the end thereof shall be with a flood. What is that flood? Lies, philosophies, ideologies, religions. Okay? Because after the destruction of the city and the sanctuary, which is 70 AD, that's when Israel what? Went into darkness. We began to lose our identity. We began to synchronize with all the people that were around us in the variety of places we were scattered, from Europe to Africa to Asia. All right? Let's get the book of Revelation 12 and 15. Let me show you something. Matter of fact, start at real quick. Start at verse. Hold on a second. Start at verse 4.
This is Revelation chapter 12, verse 4.
Go ahead.
And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven.
Now, in the context of it, you see it's the 12 stars, which is the 12 tribes of Israel. So the third part of the stars that were brought down and cast down was what? Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, the people who were in the land. All right, keep reading.
And did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman.
And the dragon, which is what? Rome, the white man. You understand? The dragon stood before the woman. Who's the woman? Israel. All right, read. You could see that in Jeremiah 6 and 2. How Israel is compared to a woman. Go ahead.
Which was ready to be delivered. For to devour her child as soon as it was born.
For to devour her child as soon as it was born. Who was that? Yawasap. When they tried to kill Yawasap. You read that in Matthew 2 and 13. All right. Now let's jump down to verse 15.
And this is Revelation chapter 12, verse 15.
Go ahead.
And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood.
Water as a flood. These are these lies, these doctrines, all these things that people are lost in, man. All right, go ahead.
After the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood.
That he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. Let's get, let me see. I think it's in Ephesians. Let me see real quick. Just so this can make sense, right? Because this is a dark saying. Yeah, I think it's 4:14. Yes, sir. 4 and 14. Read that.
This is Ephesians chapter 4, verse 14. That we henceforth be no more children, tossed to and fro, and carried about with every wind of doctrine.
And carried about with every wind of doctrine. We got to learn how to have the sound doctrine of the scriptures, man. It's thus saith the Lord, thus saith the Holy Bible. Nothing more, nothing less. Okay, finish it up.
By the sleight of men.
By the sleight of men. The craftiness. Smooth words. Like that damn pothead Yaju, man. Got our people crazy. Yeah.
And cunning craftiness, whereby thy lie in wait to deceive.
Whereby they lie and wait to deceive. All right? Let's go back to verse 15. That they might cause her. Start there. 12 and 15. Yep. That they might cause her.
That he might cause her to be carried away of the flood.
Read.
Verse 16, and the earth helped the woman.
And the earth helped the woman. Right? And this is what's happening now. The earth is helping the woman. Everything that they created to destroy us is helping us. Right? Now I'm going and digging up archaeology and writing things down in history books, and we're buying them now. And we're reading now, and we're looking these things up now to substantiate what? We are the sons of the living God. That's who we are. And you are the children of Satan. And we're putting it in their face, and they cannot stop it. Go ahead.
And the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth.
Read Psalms 85 and 11 real quick. Right? Just some quick precepts. So when brothers break this down, y'all can have these precepts.
Psalms 85 and 11.
Go ahead.
Truth shall spring out of the earth.
You see that? Truth is going to spring out of the earth, man. That's what's happening now. Go ahead.
And righteousness shall look down from heaven.
Back to Revelation.
Verse 16.
17.
17. And the dragon was wroth with the woman.
And the dragon is angry with us. This is right now. They're mad that we ain't just some dumb niggas in spics no more. We woke up. And they can't stop us. Go ahead.
And went to make war with it of her seed.
And they're making war with us. And now war is the propaganda. That's the war that they're starting now. Social engineering to try to get people away from us. But they don't realize that you can't do nothing against the truth before the truth. So keep talking about us. I want you to. Because you talking about us by do one quick YouTube or Google search, Clubhouse download, and guess what? Now they're on the corner saying the same thing we say. Finish it up.
Which keep the commandments of God.
Go ahead.
And have the testimony of Jesus Christ.
And have the testimony of Yawasap. All right? They're not mad at somebody selling drugs. They're mad at people who are going against the system. We read that in the beginning of the class in the editions of Esther. All right? Let's get First Ezra, chapter 5.
This is 1 Ezra chapter 5.
72.
Verse 72. But the heathen of the land, lying heavy upon the inhabitants of Judea, and holding them straight,
Go ahead.
hindered their building.
Hindered their what?
Their building.
Hindered their building. Are we not building right now? We're building our nation. We are the temple of God. You understand? Real quick, get Romans 15 and 4. Real quick. You don't got to get it out because you're going to read that more. Get Romans 15 and 4. Get that real quick, man.
This is Romans chapter 15, verse 4.
Go ahead.
For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning.
So this is what we have to understand. Everything that was written down by our ancestors was written down for a reason. So as we study and as we read our history, we get an understanding that this was written down for us today. So we can realize right now, today, what we have to do. You understand? Read that.
That we through patience and comfort of the scriptures.
That we through what?
Patience and comfort of the scriptures.
Go ahead.
Might have hope.
Might have hope. Now let's go back to First Ezra 72.
This is 1 Ezra chapter 5, verse 72.
Go ahead.
But the heathen of the land, lying heavy upon the inhabitants of Judea,
Go ahead.
and holding them straight, hindered their building.
Hindered our building. They're trying to stop us from building this nation, man. You understand that? Go ahead.
73. And by their secret plots.
By their what?
Their secret plots.
By their what?
Their secret plots.
And by their secret plots. Go ahead.
And popular persuasions.
And popular persuasions. Come on.
And commotions.
And commotions. Go ahead.
They hinder the finishing of the building all the time that King Cyrus lived.
And they hindered the finishing of the building. The building of our nation and our sanctuary. That's what they're hindering. You understand? They're doing this right now, today. Because they are terrified that through our rising is their fall. They know this. They know the only way to keep this world under their foot is to keep the children of Israel under their foot. Let's go into that article, Abayat. Go into that article. Read that. Just read the beginning of it. I put this here to show you that these Jewish people, these small hats, hate you. Black man, Hispanic man, Native American man, woman, and child. They hate you. You understand? Go up. I want to get the source of where I got this first. Read that.
This is from the Times of Israel.
This is from the Times of Israel, right? Read that.
It says Chief Rabbi calls black people monkeys.
Say it again.
Chief Rabbi calls black people monkeys.
A chief rabbi calls black people monkeys. Look at the date on that. What's the date on that?
March 20th, 2018.
2018. You see that? They hate you. Remember that. They hate you. They don't want you to be a part of their community. Because when all hell breaks loose, they're going to turn their back on you. And you think, Amari Stoudemire got a little hat on. What's this dumb nigga that be on Clubhouse? Mordecai. Right? I was sitting here, you got to understand. You don't know what the... Shut the hell up, bro. Because when all hell breaks loose, you're going to remember everything you heard us say. All right? This is what we got to realize. They hate you, black man. Let's get Acts chapter 19 and verse 40. Acts 19 and 40.
This is Acts chapter 19.
Hold on, let him pull it up real quick. Give him like 2 seconds. Count to 5, count to 5. All right, read.
This is Acts chapter 19, verse 40.
Yeah.
For we are in danger to be called in question for the day's uproar.
You see that? We have the entire world in an uproar. We have famous people saying we are the children of Israel. Everybody, their channels are getting striked. Ours might get striked today. Get a load of hand. All praises. Who cares? We'll make another YouTube channel. Right? My account may get clipped on Clubhouse. Guess what? I'll make another account. I'll be all right. Because we are doing this for the Lord, man.
God.
Do you understand that? Read that again from the top.
This is Acts chapter 19, verse 40. For we are in danger to be called in question for the day's uproar.
Go ahead.
There being no cause whereby we may give an account of this concourse.
You see that? So we are the ones that they're pointing to. You're the reason why this is going on. You're the hate group. You understand that? And it's only going to get worse. Acts 24 and 5. Acts 24 and 5. Read.
This is Acts chapter 24, verse 5.
Go ahead.
For we have found this man a pestilent fellow, and a mover of sedition among all the Jews throughout the world, and a ringleader.
And a what?
And a ringleader.
And a cult leader. Go ahead.
Of the sect of the Nazarene.
And that's what they say about us. These black guys, these Hispanic guys, you know, they're a mover of sedition amongst all the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans throughout the world. We got to watch these guys. We got to watch them. We got to stop them. This is what's going on. Acts 28 and 22. 28 and 22.
This is Acts.
Y'all should read the book of Acts, man.
God.
The book of Acts is beautiful. Telling you. Go ahead.
This is Acts chapter 28, verse 22.
Go ahead.
But we desire to hear of thee what thou thinkest.
Go ahead.
For as concerning this sect,
go ahead.
We know that everywhere it is spoken against.
You see that? We know everywhere it is spoken against. So the apostles were being labeled cult leaders, and these guys are in a sect, and these guys are hateful, and these guys are teaching against what we want to be taught. So you don't think the modern day apostles and disciples or prophets are going to be labeled the same thing, man? You understand that? Let's get Jeremiah, what's that? I think it's 20 and 10. Jeremiah 20 and 10. Yeah? Let's see. Yep.
This is Jeremiah chapter 20, verse 10. For I heard the defaming of many.
See, we heard the defaming of many. Right? Go ahead.
Fear on every side.
Fear on every side. You see, you're going to see a lot of Israelites, man. A lot of coons who's probably going to fall out the truth because of this. You understand? Because they thought it was a fad. You know, it was cool to put on some fringes and let's go out with the guys and just curse people out. These little 3-man camps that have no elder falling apart. This was going to happen. Right? Prophets of Babylon, and, you know, putting up YouTube. Yeah, they're gonna fall out because they have no stability, they have no root, they have no eldership. They don't congregate. They just go out once a week and think they're doing something. There's groups out there like that, right? Don't get mad because if it don't apply, let it fly. If it ain't you, what you get mad for? I pray you understand that. Go ahead, read that again.
This is Jeremiah chapter 20, verse 10. For I heard the defaming of many. Fear on every side.
Go ahead.
Report, say thee, and we will report it. All my familiars watched for my halting, saying, peradventure, he will be enticed,
Go ahead.
and we shall prevail against him,
Go ahead.
and we shall take our revenge on him.
You see that? And that's what they're saying. We're going to prevail against them. We're going to take our revenge on them, man. Through what? Through defaming. And that's what they're doing. They're defaming us. Right? Let's go to Isaiah 10:1, the classic.
This is Isaiah chapter 10, verse 1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees.
Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees. Go ahead.
And that write grievousness which they have prescribed.
These are these laws that they're passing. These bills being behind closed doors, man. This is what they're doing. And what does woe mean? Destruction. Matthew 10:23. Everybody walking with me? All right. Matthew 10:23.
This is Matthew chapter 10, verse 23. But when they persecute you in this city, flee ye into another. But verily I say unto you, ye shall not have gone over the cities of Israel, till the Son of Man be come.
And just as it was before, it's going to be now. We will be persecuted for this word. And I hope y'all understand this, and I hope you are prepared for this. Because it's going to happen. Because more and more you look up on the news, and I'm not done with the articles. I'm not done yet. I'm going to show more stuff that they are preparing. All right? Now let's change gears a little bit. We're going to change gears just a little bit. Let's go to Nahum. What up,
say something.
Yeah.
But honestly, if you look at it, the Most High has been preparing us for that too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Nahum 1:3. And you gotta, when you talk out, you gotta speak up. You good.
I don't want to disturb you.
You ain't disturbing. You gotta speak up though when you talk though. You know? Yeah.
This is Nahum chapter 1, verse 3.
Yeah.
The Lord is slow to anger.
The Lord is slow to anger. Yeah.
And great in power.
Yeah.
And will not at all acquit the wicked.
And he is not at all going to acquit the wicked. So don't you for a day in your life think they're going to get away with this. Go ahead.
The Lord hath his way in the whirlwind and in the storm.
See, the Lord had his way in the whirlwind and in the storm. Go ahead.
And the clouds are the dust of his feet.
And this is why these strange weather patterns are going on all over the world. This is the Lord's doing. All right? Let's get that article. The next article. Let's get this next article. Read the source on the top and then get into it.
This is from interfaithsustain.com.
Interfaith. Go ahead.
It says in Sinai, a prophetic call for climate justice and ceremony of repentance.
They doing this on Mount Sinai. Go ahead.
It says between November 6 and 18, 2022, the UN Climate Conference COP27 took place on the Sinai Peninsula in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt. Religious communities and religious leaders have a key role to play in addressing climate change and climate justice, which requires deep transformation within society.
Go ahead.
The knowledge of what changes are critically needed to diminish long-term harm to the planet is readily available. However, bringing about change in action demands deeper changes in attitude and change of heart. This has been the domain of religions for millennia. Religions are sources of inspiration for the transformation of heart and the ensuing changes of attitude.
Go ahead.
To support, challenge, and inspire discussions during COP27 at Sharm el-Sheikh, 10 interfaith climate events took place in Sharm el-Sheikh, Jerusalem, London, Rishikesh in India, and elsewhere that were heart-stirring, transformative, and a moment of inspiration for religious communities and for humanity.
So all these religions all over the world went right there to Mount Sinai and had a ceremony to combat, to combat climate change. Yeah.
To add to that article too, they redid the 10. I don't know if he was probably.
Yeah, it's in this article.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's in this article. Yeah, let's keep reading.
It says Mount Sinai is a mountain whose memory and meaning loom large as a place of revelation in the collective consciousness of Christianity, Judaism, Islam, and others.
Go ahead.
As an ancient sacred space, it was the site of prophetic experience in receiving God's message for the prophets Moses and Elijah and all three Abrahamic traditions, and Muhammad, who was not a prophet, in the Muslim tradition. COP27 taking place in Sinai reminded humanity of our sacred responsibility to care for God's creation.
Go ahead.
We come to Sinai in a movement of repentance and quest. We seek a new vision for humanity and its endangered existence, and we seek to receive and amplify a message of life-sustaining living and habits that humanity needs to hear today.
All right, let's jump down, go down a little bit, get to the point. Go down to where it says, I believe it's in this article, the new 10 commandments that they created. I think it's in the other article. It's all good. There's
Would that be the same one that they got on the Georgia Guidestones?
Nah, it's completely
Something
different.
Okay.
So yeah, they made as the brother Sean was just saying, they made some new 10 commandments there. And then they through the ceremony, they smashed them on the ground like Moses did when he came down from the mountain. All right, so they doing a lot of wicked ceremonies, man. And listen, man, it's only gonna hurt them because they're mocking the Most High. All right, they're mocking the Most High. Let's get to the video. Let's get to the video. Remember Esau, fair use, you goddamn devil. Let's get to this video. Goddamn devils, man. It's always my videos that get flagged.
Because you bring the sources.
I bring the sources. You know? Yeah, get this damn weird looking dude off of me.
Halfway crook right
You know? Ain't no such thing as halfway crook, brother.
there. I pray you understand.
Hey, you know? I forget. Oh, matter of fact, this is the video.
Okay.
It's the video. I knew I had it somewhere in here. Yeah, play that. You can make it the whole screen now. People tired of seeing me anyway. Go ahead, play that.
In Sinai, a prophetic call for climate justice and a ceremony of repentance, and a ceremony where the religious leaders are coming together to actually meet on Mount Sinai on November 13th, 2022, and they're going to call for a new 10 commandments in this ceremony of repentance for climate injustice. I'll get more into that in just a moment, but first I'll set what's leading up to that event. And it's this COP27, which is a UN meeting that they have. This will be the 27th, where world leaders gather together and they discuss what to do about climate change. This year, they have a heavy hand in inviting religious leaders around the world, Pope Francis even encouraging people in this whole ceremony thing. And that's where these religious leaders decided to get together and have an interfaith day at Mount Sinai where they say to call for a new universal 10 commandments. I mean, this is crazy. And I'll read their kind of declaration from Interfaith Center for Sustainable Development in just a moment. But first, just to point out, Pope Francis, a few things that he's directing towards this. COP27, Pope Francis invites Christians to a month of ecological conversion, whatever ecological conversion means. Pretty strange wording. And here's another article. Pope Francis calls on Christians to repent and modify our lifestyles to save the planet. So driving your car and eating meat is a sin. I mean, that's kind of what that kind of wording leads to one to believe. Now, I'll read an excerpt off this website. So again, this is the Interfaith Center for Sustainable Development.
was supposed to be done in May. Remember they had set it up for that time for the world leaders all to get together in May?
Yeah.
It was supposed to be May of this year, but they must have changed the date because like a year ago or 2 years ago, they already had made plans for this for all.
They listen. Every year they do wicked like when we was talking about it earlier, Kadash. Every year they do with some type of wicked ceremony, man. And they come together, all these world religions, and there's a big bull and all this weird, goofy shit, man. Satanic shit, man. They are Arians, they satanic, man. Right? They're occultists, right? That's exactly what they are. They are occultists, man. Let's go to 2nd Ezra 16 and 5. Because they don't realize, ain't no damn interfaith. What the hell was he talking about? Ecological conversion? Barack, break that down. What the hell does that mean, bro? How am I converting to what the? Anyway, man, let's get the scriptures, man. 2nd Ezra, man. Talk to him.
This is 2nd Ezra, chapter 16, verse 5.
Go ahead.
Plagues are sent unto you.
What?
Plagues are sent unto you.
You see, plagues are getting sent. And that's why these weather patterns are all over the place. That's why one day it's hot outside, and the next day I'm outside with a damn coat. Right? You got floods all over the world, earthquakes, weather, you got droughts, fires, all over the place, man, because plagues are being sent. Let's get Isaiah 29. Isaiah chapter 29.
So Isaiah chapter 29.
Yep.
Verse 1.
Nope. Verse 6.
It's Isaiah chapter 29, verse 6.
Go ahead.
Thou shalt be visited of the Lord of hosts with
read.
And with earthquake.
Go ahead.
And great noise with storm and tempest.
Go ahead.
And the flame of devouring fire.
And the flame of devouring fire. That's what's happening, man. All right? This is what's happening. Read the next verse.
Verse 7. And the multitude of all the nations that fight against Ariel.
That fight against Ariel, you know who that is? That's Israel. All right? Ariala. Or Araya Allah is how you really say it. Araya Allah. All right? Which means lion of the power. Go ahead.
Even all that fight against her and her munition and that distress her shall be as a dream of a night vision.
Shall be as what?
A dream of a night vision.
Shall be as a
dream.
I got a phone call real quick. Shall be as what?
Shall be as a dream of a night vision.
Shall be as a dream of a night vision. You see that?
Shalaki.
What up?
They got this show on Netflix called Warrior Nun or something like that, right?
Warrior Nun? That's
yes.
what you watching now?
And the hold on.
I'm messing with you. I get it. I'm messing with you.
And the Catholic Church right now is forming together to fight against the angel Ariel in it. They're saying that he's the devil.
Amazing.
Wow.
Amazing. He said, wow. God. Nah. They put it all in your face, man. That's what they do. Let's get Wisdom of Solomon 16 to 16.
This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 16, verse 16. For the ungodly that did not deny to know thee were scourged by the strength of thine arm.
Go ahead.
With strange rains.
With strange rains. Go ahead.
Hails.
Go ahead.
And showers.
Go ahead.
Were they persecuted.
Were they persecuted. And I'm going to show you why the Lord's doing this, right? Go ahead.
That they could not avoid, and through fire were they consumed.
Now let's get Wisdom of Solomon chapter 12 and verse 2.
This is Wisdom of Solomon chapter 12 verse 2. Therefore chastenest thou them by little and little.
You see, the Lord will chastise the nations little by little. Go ahead.
That offend.
That offend. Because the Lord is a just God. And the only way to be a just God is just as he sends us warnings and we are coming to our repentance, the Lord is going to send the nations warnings of his return. Though he already knows these wicked ass heathen are not going to repent. But to be a just God, he's going to chastise them little by little, go ahead.
And warns them by putting them in remembrance.
And warn them and puts them in remembrance, go ahead.
Wherein they have offended.
Wherein they have offended, go ahead.
That leaving their wickedness, they may believe on thee, O Lord.
That leaving their wickedness, they may believe on Yahweh. You understand that? Now, we're going to change gears again a little bit. Let's go to Genesis 4. Genesis chapter 4.
Genesis chapter
4 and where are we?
This is Genesis chapter 4, verse 12.
Go ahead.
When thou tillest the ground,
it
shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength.
Go ahead.
A fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth.
Now this was the curse from who? For Cain. Right? Who is Cain today? The so-called white man. Esau. They are Cain today. Right? And this is, why do you think they have to create genetically modified organisms? Because the ground that they till shall not henceforth yield unto her strength.
Wow.
You understand? Everything's in the Bible, brother. He's like, wow. I like Joseph. You gotta stay around, Joseph. You gotta stay around, brother.
No doubt.
All right, let's go into the video, man. Let's go into the video. All right. Let's get this next one popping. You got all the links right here. He got it.
Genetically modified organisms, or GMOs, have been the subject of controversy pretty much since their inception. More recently, they've become sort of a buzzword for outraged social media experts, but don't let these Twitter crusaders fool you. GMOs are in fact a very serious topic. They have an impact on everyone. Take the US, for example, where the most produced crop by far is corn. In 2014, over 361 million tons of corn were cultivated, more than all other crops combined. That corn is then used to make a variety of different products. Not just food, you find corn derivatives in Coke, milk, toothpastes, aspirin, and varnish. Corn is also the most popular animal feed, and when you consider the fact that 85% of all US corn is genetically modified, you'll realize that GMOs are actually all around you. That's why this week on Behind the Business, we'll be taking a look at the company that started it all, the world's largest seed company, Monsanto. Monsanto was originally founded as a chemical company in 1901 by John Francis Queeny. Queeny was in his 40s by that point, and he had had a pretty rough start to his life. The Great Chicago Fire of 1871 left his family homeless when he was only 12. He had to quit his education in order to start working full-time as an office boy at a wholesale drug firm. Through hard work and dedication, John climbed the ranks of the pharmaceutical industry, and he eventually moved to St. Louis in 1891 as a representative of the Mayer Brothers Drug Company, the largest drug distributor at the time. 5 years later, John married Olga Monsanto, and when he decided to establish a business of his own in 1901, he named his company after her. John established Monsanto in order to produce saccharin, an artificial sweetener that is 300 times sweeter than table sugar and has effectively no nutritional value. Saccharin was first synthesized in 1879, and although it is a wildly popular sugar substitute today, back in the 1900s nobody in the US had even heard of it. Germany had a near monopoly on its production, and there wasn't a single manufacturer in the United States. John's newly established business was the first US saccharin producer, and the American market turned out to be very lucrative. One of his earliest customers was actually the Coca-Cola Company, which still uses saccharin in its popular Diet Cokes. By 1905, John had added 2 more food additives to Monsanto's repertoire, vanillin and coumarin, which, up until then, were also produced only by Germany. In its first decade, Monsanto barely turned a profit because the Germans were constantly undercutting them. When the United States declared war on Germany in 1917, though, all chemical imports were halted, leaving a huge void in the market that Monsanto was more than happy to fill. Its revenue jumped from $81,000 in 1913 to $905,000 in 1919, establishing Monsanto as one of the big US chemical companies. 1919 also marked Monsanto's first steps abroad when it acquired a Welsh chemical producer that made aspirin and rubber catalyzers. This was Monsanto's first big acquisition, but it would definitely not be the last. The 1920s saw Monsanto expand its product range to feature industrial chemicals, the most notable one being polychlorinated biphenyl, or PCB. Now, PCBs can come in various molecular configurations, 209 to be precise, and all of them are very toxic. They're proven carcinogens and pollutants that are resistant to acids and heat and need about 200 days of direct sunlight just to start breaking down. If you're thinking this was some exotic, rarely used chemical, you'd be wrong. PCBs were used as coolants in various electrical devices prior to the 1970s, most notably in power transformers and capacitors. Odds are, if you go to some of the more neglected cities in your state, you'd find transformers with PCB warning labels there. Monsanto was the only US producer of PCBs for almost 50 years before Congress finally banned the substance in 1979. Internal documents leaked in 2002 show that Monsanto was well aware of the toxicity of PCBs more than a decade before their eventual ban. In fact, Monsanto's first move at circumventing environmental laws happened all the way back in 1926 when the company incorporated a town in Illinois called, you guessed it, Monsanto. Back then, local jurisdictions were responsible for most environmental laws, and Monsanto, the town, was very lenient with its regulations, so much so that Monsanto...
you can stop the video, Abaya. You could get the next one ready. So you see right here, right? Monsanto, the biggest producer of genetically modified organism seeds right now today on Earth. Okay? They're literally a monopoly company that is conquering all of agriculture throughout America. They're in South America, they're in Africa, they're in Asia. You understand? And they're creating all of these harmful toxins and chemicals. All right, let's go to the next video. Yeah, Abaya.
In September 2012, the first long-term study on the effects of GMOs being consumed by live organisms was completed. The results were disturbing. GMOs turn food into poison. Consumption of such foods may cause a massive increase in cancer for all who eat them. When tested on rats, genetically modified foods cause them to develop horrifying tumors and other related diseases. 70% of the female population died prematurely, and virtually all of them suffered severe organ damage from consuming GMOs. From the beginning of the 1990s, the number of companies producing GMO products has grown exponentially. Today, 75% of the food at Canadian grocery stores contains genetically modified ingredients, mainly in the form of 4 crops: corn, soy, cotton, and canola. Among the products you buy, GMOs can be found in meats, alcohol, soft drinks, juices, dairy products, frozen food, pasta, canned goods, baby food, cereal, bread, cosmetics, and even shampoo. This is not even half of the list. It is the worst trial and error case in the history of the food industry. The mass poisoning of billions of people with the toxic food crop that was never properly tested. Corporations are risking the future health and sustainability of life on this planet to pad their own pockets. They may have the power of industry, but we have each other. Our unity can protect us. Don't let anyone destroy our future. Join us. Join us.
You can get this Edomite out like he really doing something. But you see that. You see how these genetically modified organisms is destroying our people, man. Completely destroying our people. Let's go to the next video. I think I got like 2 more. I got 2 more left. 2 more videos left on this. Y'all gotta do your own independent research, man. I'm just touching the surface of everything. I'm not even going in depth. This is everything I'm touching is the surface.
Nanotechnology
So
is a
the
term
more-
bandied around a fair
Pause it
bit.
real quick. Pause it real quick.
Promise of
Salakia, I'll just throw it back. So, y'all gotta there's a lot of documentaries out there, a lot of research papers, a lot of books, you know what I'm saying, that you can find a lot of this information, man. And y'all gotta do your own independent research, you know what I'm saying, and speak against the evils of this world, man. Because they are destroying us. And they literally studied the genetic makeup of blacks and Hispanics, man. And these chemicals and all these things that they're putting in these foods is designed to attack our genetics. Seriously, this is what they're doing. Next video.
Nanotechnology is a term that gets bandied around a fair bit. The promise of longer-lasting bread, super low-salt soy sauce, even Kraft Foods' interest in a smart blob that can be made to taste like anything using nanotechnology have all been part of the highly speculative future of nano foods.
But what about here and now? How many of these foods already have nanoparticles in them? And what do we know about the harm they might cause? Well, the answer to both questions is we don't actually know.
The term nanotechnology is used to describe engineered matter that's generally less than 100 nanometers in size. In other words, 1,000th of the thickness of a sheet of newspaper. Nanoparticles already naturally exist, for example, proteins in milk or ash in the air. But building nanoparticles into food or its packaging can change its nutritional value, lifespan, or appearance. Titanium dioxide is the most commonly used nanoparticle in food as a whitener in powdered sugar, coconut, and yogurt, also in sunscreens. Dr. Ricky Yada is a leading researcher into nanoscience in food technology. He's at Sydney University to brief Australian food industry experts on the rapidly expanding global field.
Well, there's a number of benefits that nanotechnology could bring in the food area. For example, the delivery of nutrients at a much more lower level.
But right now, we don't even have a way to test for nanotechnology in food. And there's inconclusive research on both sides of the debate over their harm and benefit.
That's one of the concerns. What is the long-term effect of consuming products that have nanoparticles? You know, because of the size of these nanoparticles, because they're so small and they can penetrate membranes and tissues, there is some concerns of these nanoparticles accumulating in tissues and organs, and will that have a detrimental effect to the consumer who consumes that product?
FSANZ, or Food Standards Australia New Zealand, says it's not received any applications to approve new or novel nanoscale particles for food use.
Right now, jurisdictions around the world.
You can stop the video. So you see what Esau doing, man, and these world powers are doing. Nanoparticles in your food?
Why is he happy explaining?
And he's happy. He's like, yeah, you know, it's such a great thing.
No problem with
Moab, who that? Moab? I don't know what the hell he is, man. Yeah, he all weird. You know what I'm saying? But nanoparticles in your food. For what? For what? Let me just eat an apple, man. Damn. Lord in Christ. Let's go to the last video. I hate them. Listen, white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of, man.
Psychotic.
Next video.
This episode is brought to you by AJ Plus. There's a quote that's been attributed to political scientist Henry Kissinger. It goes, "Who controls the food supply controls the people." Now, whether or not Kissinger actually said that doesn't take away from the fact that food, like water, can be a powerful bargaining tool for people and governments alike, despite being considered a human right by the UN. So just how powerful is food? The biggest agricultural exporters in the world are the EU and the US, which together account for roughly $300 billion a year. Each nearly doubles Brazil's exports and triples China's. The EU's high ranking, however, is almost entirely due to the Netherlands, who are the second largest food exporter in the world after the US. Additionally, many staple foods are overwhelmingly produced by a single country. For example, as much as 40% of the world's corn is grown in the United States, and just over a quarter of the world's rice is grown in China. With only a few players controlling the world's food, they end up wielding a great deal of international power. In 1976, the US Secretary of Agriculture said, "Food is a weapon," alluding to the use of food to promote US goals and as a tool against difficult countries. For example, in 2012, the US offered North Korea some much needed food aid in exchange for suspending their nuclear program. Then, after North Korea attempted to launch a long-range rocket later that year, the US rescinded their aid offer. However, attempts at food embargo since the 1960s have mostly fallen flat, as the global economy has made it possible to maintain supply, and international pressure has criticized the ethics of restricting food. On the flip side, Russia's recent ban on food imports in response to EU sanctions has had a strong effect on food producers. In Germany, pig farmers, who alone supply a quarter of Russia's pork, are expected to lose out on 40,000 euros per farm this year. The status and control of food on an international level cannot be understated. But using food as a political tool has been met with mixed results, and restricting access to food has regularly been frowned on and legislated against. So how powerful is food? Powerful, but not always for the right reasons.
Changing climates are threatening a number of important crops across the world, and chocolate is an interesting example. To learn more about how the industry is being threatened, check out this video from AJ+.
So you see how the food industry can actually cripple other nations because of how much these powers that be are in control of the agriculture of the earth, man. Think about it. Africa, South America, even East Asia, right outside of China, are the most resourceful places on earth. All the resources, but for some reason they're poor. Because America, Europe, all these great established countries, what do? They get the resources from these people, ship them, take what they want, then ship the resources back and charge them extra. This is what they do. This is how they cripple economies. It's called inflation. You understand that? And they primarily do it to us. All right, let's get Jeremiah 33 and 24. Jeremiah 33 and verse 24.
This is Jeremiah chapter 33, verse 24.
Yeah.
Considerest thou not what this people have spoken, saying, the two families which the Lord hath chosen, he hath even cast them off.
The two families that the Lord has chosen, he has cast them off. Who are these two families? The northern and the southern kingdom.
Thus they have spotted people that they should no more a nation before them.
That they should be no more a nation before them. Right? And this is why they keep us in the conditions that we're in. Let's get Exodus. Exodus 1 and 8. Start right there.
This is Exodus chapter 1, verse 8. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, behold, you are more and mightier than we.
And you don't think they're saying that now? So these people are forming an army. And they're not just one group. They're not just one group. They're all over the place. They got a sect here, a faction here, a cult here. Because if it was all one group, how would it be this?
Take down one person.
Take down one person, the group crumbles. But the Lord don't got it set up like that. The Lord got us all over the place, prophesying, teaching the word of God in all the variety of camps, man, that are teaching his truth in sincerity, that are ushering in this kingdom. All right? Read.
Verse 10. Come on, Let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply.
You see? Let us deal wisely with these guys, lest they multiply. Go ahead.
And it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land.
Now let's get Isaiah 19. Because we living in the modern day, okay? That's what we're living in. No, verse 1.
This is Isaiah chapter 19, verse 1.
Go ahead.
The burden of Egypt.
The what?
The burden of Egypt.
Go ahead.
Behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud.
The Lord is riding upon a swift cloud. Go ahead.
And shall come into Egypt.
And is going to come into Egypt. These people that have secret plots and conspiracies against us. Go ahead.
And the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence.
And the idols of Egypt is going to be moved at his presence. Go ahead.
And the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it.
And the heart of Egypt is going to melt in the midst of it, man. That's this nuclear thermal destruction. You understand? That's going to come here. All right? Let's get Judith 5. Because this also has to be understood. It's what they say, oldie but goodie. Judith 5. This has to be understood. Why? Because they want to keep us in sin. Let's start at verse 15.
This is Judith 5, chapter 15.
Matter of fact, 12.
This is Judith 5, verse 12. Then they cried unto their God, and he smote all the land of Egypt with incurable plagues.
And that's happening now. He has plagues being cast all throughout the earth, man. For our sakes, for our amendment, for our revenge. Go ahead.
So the Egyptians cast them out of their sight.
Go ahead.
And God dried the Red Sea.
Now jump down to verse 15 now.
Verse 15, so they dwelt in the land of the Amorites, and they destroyed by their strength all them of Espion. And passing over Jordan, they possessed all the hill country.
This is us, conquering the land of Canaan. Go ahead.
And I'm
reading all this for a reason. Go ahead.
And they cast forth before them the Canaanite, the Perizzite,
the Canaanite,
the Perizzite, the Jebusite, and the Sycamite, and all the Girgasites, and they dwelt in that country many days. And whilst they sinned not before their God,
and when we did not sin, go ahead,
they prospered.
We prospered. Go ahead.
Because the God that hateth iniquity was with them.
Because the God that hates sins was with us. Go ahead.
Verse 18. But when they departed from the way which he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles very sore, and were led captives into a land that was not theirs. And the temple of their God was cast to the ground, and their cities were taken by the enemies.
But when we sinned, we were put in captivity and scattered across the earth. Right? This is why we have to keep the laws of God. And they don't want you to. Why do you think they made up that damn Christian doctrine? You don't gotta keep, you're not under that. You don't gotta keep no laws. Because they want to keep, Christianity is slavery, man. And they want to keep us in slavery. All right? Let's go to Numbers 23. It might be 23.
This is Numbers chapter 23, verse 23.
Yep.
Surely there is no enchantment against Jacob.
You see, there's no enchantment against us. Okay?
Neither is there any divination against Israel.
You see, there's nothing that they can do against us. This is what you have to understand. You should not be scared in these times because they can do nothing against us. No matter what propaganda they put out there, no matter what lies they put out there, no matter what military they form to come against us, it will not work. Because when you come against us, you come against God.
That's right.
That's what they have to realize. Okay?
According to this time it shall be said of Jacob and of Israel, what hath God wrought?
You see that? So they can do nothing against us. That's what you have to realize. Why fear some? Matter of fact, I'll probably get that later. Get Isaiah 29 and 15. I think that's what it said. Is that Jake outside? Lord Christ. Jake is off, man. 15.
This is Isaiah chapter 29, verse 15. Woe unto them that seek deep to hide their counsel.
Say it again.
Woe unto them that seek deep to hide their counsel.
Destruction unto them thinking you gonna hide what the hell you doing from the Lord. Like the Lord don't got your card. Like the Lord don't got a little computer system. You're gonna be like, hold on. And your whole record pop up. That's what the Lord got, man. He got your record book. He knows everything you do, everything you plan on doing. He knows every evil thought that you have in your brain, and he's coming to punish you, man. That's what he's coming to do. He's coming to punish these people for everything they do to us. And you have to have that faith. You have to believe that. No matter what book they write against us, no matter what article they write, no matter what they do, your faith should supersede everything. Without faith, it is impossible to please Yahweh, man. That's what you have to realize. Yeah, of course, we could go into archaeology and we could prove these things. We could do all that. Barack can spit out 20 dates right now. 20 dates. Boom, 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 boom. Of captivities, of this and that, of archaeology. He can do it all right now. I guarantee it. With precepts to back it up. He can do that. But without faith, what is it? It's vain. It's emptiness. It's null and void. And that's what they're scared of. They're terrified that our faith supersedes their military. Our faith supersedes their media, their propaganda, their secret plots. They're terrified of that, man. All right? Let's go to Genesis 50. Let's keep exposing that the white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of.
That's right.
All right? Because that's what this class is about. Exposing them. And there's going to be more classes like this. A whole lot. All right? Genesis 50. Start at 1 for context.
This is Genesis chapter 50, verse 1. And Joseph fell upon his father's face and wept upon him.
Everybody knows what's going on here, right? Barack, what's going on here?
Jacob's passing after his blessing.
Right? Jacob passes away, right? After he blesses his children in 49. All right? Go ahead.
And wept upon him and kissed him.
Go ahead.
And Joseph commanded his servants, the physicians, to embalm his father, and the physicians embalmed Israel.
Go ahead.
And 40 days were fulfilled for him. For so are fulfilled the days of those which are embalmed.
Go ahead.
And the Egyptians mourned for him 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
And when the days of his mourning were past, Joseph spake unto the house of Pharaoh, saying, If now I have found grace in your eyes, speak, I pray you, in the ears of Pharaoh, saying, My father made me swear, saying, Lo, I die, and my grave which I have digged for me in the land of Canaan.
And what? He wants to be buried in Canaan, right? In the Holy Land, in Israel. That's where Jacob, Israel, wanted to be buried. All right? Read.
There shalt thou bury me. Now therefore let me go up, I pray thee, and bury my father, and I will come again. Mm-hmm. And Pharaoh said, Go up and bury thy father, according as he made thee swear.
Go ahead.
And Joseph went up to bury his father, and with him went up all the servants of Pharaoh, the elders of his house.
The elders of his house, go ahead.
And all the elders of the land of Egypt.
And all the elders of the land of Egypt.
And all the house of Joseph, and his brethren, and his father's house.
Go ahead.
Only their little ones, and their flocks and their herds they left in the land of Goshen.
They left in the land of Goshen, right? Which will be modern day Avaris. All right? Avaris is where they were. All right? Y'all should look that up. Keep reading.
Verse 9. And there went up with him both chariots and horsemen, and it was a very great company. And they came to the threshing floor at Atah, which is beyond Jordan. And there they mourned with a great and very sore lamentation. And he made a mourning for his father 7 days. And when the inhabitants of the land, the Canaanites, saw the mourning in the floor of Atad, they said, "This is a grievous mourning to the Egyptians."
What?
This is a grievous mourning unto the Egyptians.
This is a grievous mourning unto the Egyptians. So the Israelites were mistaken for who? What complexion were Egyptians? Were they white? Were they Caucasoid? Caucasian? European? Why don't they read this? We were mistaken for Egyptians. Acts 21, 37. Yo, Jake gotta stop, man. What is he playing out there, man?
Crazy.
Jake is, huh? That's downstairs? Where downstairs? Barack, do me a favor. Go let him know something, man. If you can. Or if Shamak and Kaz is right in the hallway, I don't know what they doing. Go let them know they gotta turn that down, bro. Salakia. Read that.
This is Acts chapter 21, verse
37.
37.
Salakia, they got me tight.
And as Paul was to be led into the castle, he said unto the chief captain, "May I speak unto thee?" Who said, "Canst thou speak Greek?"
So they're like, hold on, you can speak Greek, Paul? Yeah.
Verse 38. Art not thou that Egyptian?
What?
Art not thou that Egyptian?
Hold on, what did they mistake Paul as?
Egyptian.
An Egyptian. A dark-skinned man. So it is obvious from the conception of Genesis all the way to the times of Christ that Israelites were known to be a melanated people of many different shades of brown. All right? That's what has to be realized. So how do we have what we have today? How did the Jews become white? This is what you got to ask yourself. Let's go to 1 Maccabees 3 and start at 46. Once again, this class is mainly skimming. This is mainly skimming over the topics. We're going to get in depth to certain things, huh?
46?
Yeah, 46.
This is 1 Maccabees chapter 3, verse 46.
Okay.
Wherefore the Israelites assembled themselves together and came to Mespah over against Jerusalem. For in Mespah was the place where they prayed aforetime in Israel.
Go ahead.
47. Then they fasted that day and put on sackcloth and cast ashes upon their heads and rent their clothes.
Go ahead.
And laid upon open the book of the law.
They what?
Laid upon open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images.
And who was these heathen? The Greeks. They sought to paint the likeness of their images. So during the Hellenistic era, they were already creating something as icons that pictured what? White images of the people in the Bible. You understand that? Job chapter 9, verse 24, the classic. Yeah, they really bumping music downstairs, bro.
That's crazy.
This is Job chapter 9, verse 24.
Go ahead.
The earth is given into the hand of the wicked.
Read it again.
The earth is given into the hand of the wicked.
Who's the wicked? Prove it. Malachi. You gotta get straight to the point. Proverbs 29 and 2 wouldn't have proved that. Malachi 1. They going to handle that? has music. Yeah. Yeah.
1 and 3, right?
Start at 4, straight to the point.
This is Malachi chapter 1, verse 4, whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down. And they shall call them the border of wickedness.
The what?
The border of wickedness.
The border of wickedness. Go ahead.
And the people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever.
The Lord has indignation against Esau forever. Not a person, the people. All right? Now, Apaya, do me a favor. Go into that first image. Go into that first image.
Yeah, that's. I checked if that's the part. It's not either the car or I don't know if it's coming from downstairs.
It's downstairs.
So it's not. They're going downstairs.
Not downstairs, the other side, the church underneath.
Church is there?
Yeah, I gotta go down there. The water, I appreciate you. Blow that up. Blow that image up. So you see that? This? Oh, that's downstairs. If it's not downstairs, go upstairs. Bible shop. Now this is John the 8th. Right? This is between 1392 and 1448. Reigning emperor of the Byzantine Empire. This is found in the library of the Holy Monastery of St. Catherine in Sinai. Right? You see that image? That's a black man. That look like my yard profile. That look like my yard profile, man. Dead serious. Right? Go to the next image. Check upstairs real quick. Go in.
Yeah, I think that's upstairs.
The water. Alright, so you see this right here? This is the Byzantine Empire, Manuel the First, Caminos, and his second wife, Maria of Antioch. Slavia's second wife. This is in 1118 through 1180. This is in the Vatican Library. You see another dark-skinned man, and he has what? A white wife. So it shows you what was going on here. All right? I'm showing this for a reason. This is the Byzantine Empire. I'm showing this for a reason. Now go to the book. The water, y'all. The water, y'all. They turned it down. All praises. Clap it up for the men of the Lord. All right. Nah, what you doing? The images I sent you is a book. What happened? I thought y'all turn it down.
A little restoration, I guess.
Nah.
They turned it off. That's coming from some.
You gotta check upstairs. Did you check upstairs yet?
No, you said you took it.
You went upstairs?
I went to them. They were blasting music.
All right, go upstairs and check. Bible shop. Lord of Christ.
Huh?
Yeah, you see this book? The Icon, right? Salakia, man, we got people playing music and whatnot, but this book, The Icon, right? Now go to the next image. Now, read that, Barack.
This is Iconoclasm.
Iconoclasm. Go ahead.
Venetian looting in 1204.
And the Venetian looting in 1204. Go ahead.
And the sack by the Turks in 1453 are the main reasons why only very few icons have survived in Constantinople proper.
And this is the only reason, right, why few icons have survived in Constantinople in the proper form. You understand that? It's the only reason why. Because what? Who are the Turks? Those are the Ottomans. And began to what? The Ottomans are Edomites. that converted to Islam. All right? They're descendants of Greeks. So this is why when you look up certain images, not just in Europe, in Asia Minor, which was where the Byzantine Empire ruled from, going all the way down into Israel, you begin to see images of white people. Because right here, iconoclasm. Finish it up, Al.
It may seem daring, therefore, to write an entire chapter on the icons of the capital, yet the situation is not quite so hopeless as might appear at first glance. Icons existed not only as panel paintings, but also as frescoes in wall mosaics.
You see that? Icons were not only panel paintings, but frescoes and wall mosaics. Go ahead.
Some of which have emerged from layers of whitewash.
Of whitewash. I didn't write this book. Go ahead.
To give an undiluted impression of the highest achievements of Constantinopolitan art.
You see that? So this is what was going on. Deuteronomy 32 and 26. The water, y'all. Appreciate you.
It's Deuteronomy chapter 32 and 26. I said, I would scatter them into corners.
He would what?
I would scatter them into corners.
So the Lord was going to scatter us into corners, to the four corners of the earth. Yeah.
I will make the remembrance of them.
Read that again.
I would make the remembrance of them.
He's going to make the remembrance of the children of Israel. Go ahead.
To cease from among men.
To cease from among men. Right? So this is why they were able to commit identity theft. By whitewashing images, falsifying history. All right? Lamentations 5. Lamentations chapter 5. Let me see. I think it might be, let me see real quick. Lamentations 5 and 7. Verse 2. Salaki, you're right. Verse 2. Yep.
This is Lamentations chapter 5, verse 2. Our inheritance is turned to strangers.
Read it again.
Our inheritance is turned to strangers.
Our inheritance is turned to strangers. Go ahead.
Our houses to aliens.
And our houses to aliens. Now let's see. What will you say is let's see if y'all brothers read. The first quote unquote mass conversion to people keeping our laws and being Judaized.
Esther 8 and 17.
Esther 8 and 17. Barak, man, you can't be. You at the table, brother. You gotta let the audience answer.
What was that?
Esther 8, 17. We're gonna get into it right. We're gonna get into it right. You wasn't gonna say that, bro. I was gonna say the same thing. He said it before I did. You know? Read that.
Esther 8 and verse 17.
Go ahead.
And in every province and in every city,
Go ahead.
whithersoever the kings commanded and his decree came, the Jews had joy.
The what?
The Jews had joy.
Go ahead.
And gladness.
Go ahead.
A feast and a good day. And many of the people of the land became Jews.
See, many of the people of the land became Jews. Get that Hebrew word out. You already know. You already know, man. Get that Hebrew word. Many of the people became Jews. You see, a Christian will go here and be like, you see, brother, engraftment. No, that's not what it's saying. I can't become a Chinese man because I dress up like a freaking monk and go in the middle of Tibet. I don't become Chinese because of that. I'm just a Puerto Rican in China, Slovakia. That's it. You got the word?
For Jews?
Yeah.
It's Yahad.
Yahad. Go ahead.
Which is to become a Jew.
Become a Jew. Go ahead.
In fact or in fraud, or to become Judaized.
There you go. That is the proper definition, to become Judaized.
Yahad.
Meaning follow after the customs of the Jews. That's all that means. And if you read the chapter contextually, they did this because of fear. And you're going to read to see that when he keeps reading. Keep reading.
Continue in 17. For the fear of the Jews fell upon them.
Because they were scared. That's why. Because they seen the influence and the power that shifted to us. If you read the book of Esther contextually. So that's when you see a quote-unquote mass conversion. All right? When's the second time? Daniel. Matter of fact, let's just go to the book. I'm going to go to the book. That's what I'm going to do. Let's go to the book, Abayat. And you're going to go to page 8 in the book that I sent you. Alright? Yeah, read. Let's go to the title. Yup, go do all that first. You see that? This book is the hit game. Read it. Blow it up for him. Matter of fact, let me put it.
I just ordered it.
You ordered it from where?
Amazon.
How much was it?
A lot.
Oh, praises. That's why you be getting in arguments with your rib, right?
Yeah.
I've been there. I gotta read that. I gotta read that out.
The History of the Jews by Heinrich Graetz says, from the reign of Hyrcanus from 135 BCE to the completion of the Babylonian Talmud in 500 CE.
Mm-hmm. Now let's go down to page 8. Page 8. No, that's not page 8. That's page 8 in the
Yeah, okay.
But it's not page 8 in the book. Not page 8 in the PDF, page 8 in the book. Because it is so different from the PDF in the book. I'll tell you right now. Let me get it in my phone. It'll be... It'll be around 27, 28. There you go. Go next page. All right. Go start where it says after his victory.
It says, after his victory over the Samaritans, Hyrcanus marched against the Idumeans.
Hyrcanus marched against the Idumeans, which was Edomites. Go ahead.
This people, although fallen very low during many vicissitudes of fortune attending the constant changes of the Macedonian and Asiatic dynasties, and forced by the Nabateans to leave their dwellings, had alone among all tribes related by blood to the Judeans been able to maintain themselves, and had preserved their ancient bitter animosity against them undiminished.
You see that? So they had an animosity against the Jews. Read.
It says, Hyrcanus laid siege to their two fortresses, Adora and Marissa.
Now these were the two fortresses that was left in the land of Idumea, because the Edomites, through other history, I'm not going to show that today, were already in Macedon. They were already in Armenia. They were already beginning to go and influence in Kittim, which is modern day Rome. They were already in North Africa, right? They were literally being called Lucayan Ethiopians, which Lucayan means light, because they were pale skinned. Right? That'll all come in future classes. Right? Yeah, keep reading.
And after having demolished them, gave the Idumeans the choice between acceptance of Judaism and exile.
They said, get down and lay down. Go ahead.
They chose the former alternative and became outwardly.
Outwardly. Go ahead.
And became outwardly followers of that faith.
Go ahead.
The temples of the Idumean idols were, of course, destroyed, but the priests secretly adhered to their worship.
But the priests of the Idumeans still went into their pagan worship. Go ahead.
Thus, after more than 1,000 years of enmity, Jacob and Esau were again united, the elder serving the younger brother.
Go ahead.
For the first time, Judaism, in the person of its head, John Hyrcanus, practiced intolerance against other faiths,
Go ahead.
but it soon found out with deep pain how highly injurious it is to allow religious zeal for the preservation of the faith to degenerate into the desire to effect violent conversion of others.
But this was good. All that said was, it Salakia and pause, it bit him in the ass eventually. Because his mass conversion that they forced upon the Edomites ended up hurting him in the long run. Right? Keep reading.
The enforced union of the sons of Edom with the sons of Jacob was fraught only with disaster to the latter. It was through the Idumeans and the Romans that the Hasmonean dynasty was overthrown and the Judean state destroyed.
You see that? So through the Hasmonean dynasty and the Romans and the Idumeans, right? Even though Rome was Esau, they destroyed Judah. Keep reading.
The first result of the conquest of the Idumeans and of their adoption of Judaism was a new contest with the city of Samaria, now chiefly inhabited by Macedonians and Syrians. A colony of Idumeans had been transplanted from Marissa to the vicinity of Samaria. They were attacked and ill-treated by their neighbors, who were urged on to their acts of aggression by the Syrian kings Grippus and Cyzicenus. The latter, who resembled Antiochus Epiphanes in his folly and extravagance, manifested in particular a fierce hatred against Hyrcanus. His generals invaded Judea, took several fortresses near the seacoast, and placed a garrison in Joppa. Hyrcanus thereupon complained to the Roman Senate, which had guaranteed to Judea the possession of this seaport, and sent 5 ambassadors to plead the justice of his cause at Rome.
Nah, that's it. You can stop there, right? So you see, this is another mass conversion. Go ahead, Doc.
Slack, was this around the time of the Maccabees?
After the time of the Maccabees. Yep, after the time of the Maccabees. You want to say someone? Yeah.
Hyrcanus, the last leader of the Maccabees, Simon, that's his son. So the 3 Maccabean brothers that led are all died. Hyrcanus and everyone after is his descendants, who are all Simon's sons. So the Hasmonean dynasty continued through his lineage.
See that? Now let's go to the next link, because then we're about to show another mass conversion that mainly affected us today. All right? And this is from the Jewish Visual Library or virtual some shit?
Yeah, virtual library.
Jewish Virtual Library. Read it, Doc.
It says Khazars.
The Khazars.
Says the Khazars are a national group.
Go to the origin. Start there. Yep.
It says the origin of the Khazars. The Khazars are of Turkic stock.
Turkic stock. Edomites. Go ahead.
Originally nomadic, reached the Volga Caucasus region.
They reached the Volga Caucasus region, the Caucasus Mountains. Go ahead.
From the farther east at some time not easily determinable. They may have belonged to the empire of the Huns from the 5th century CE, as the Akatazirs mentioned by Priscus. This name is said to be the equivalent to Akhazar, i.e. white Khazars.
White Khazars, because the Huns was dark-skinned people, and the Huns was primarily Israelites, whole nother class, right? The Huns were known as the barbarians of Europe, the ones that went and conquered Rome and destroyed and pillaged Rome for the fall of the Roman Empire, right? There's a dagger from the Huns that has a shield of David on it. All right? I'll bring that out in future classes. Keep reading.
As opposed to the Korah Khazar or Black Khazars mentioned by Al-Istakri, says the Khazars probably belonged to the West Turkish Empire from 552 CE and may have marched with the Sinijibu or Istami, the first Khakan of the West Turks, against the Sassanid fortress of Sul or Darban.
So that's just a brief history of the origin of the Khazarian Empire. Scroll down to the conversion. You'll see it. Right there on the top, you see it? The date of Khazar conversion to Judaism. Let's go.
Says this date has already been referred to above. Says the date 740 CE is suggested by converging considerations, namely the circumstance of the reported conversion to Islam in 737 and the dating given by Judah Halevi in the Kuzari. The absence of distinct references to the Judaism of the Khazars in the biographies of Saint Abul of Tiflis, who was in Khazaria circa 780 CE, and of Constantine, or Cyril, who was there 860, should not be pressed as proof that the conversion, should not be pressed as proof that the conversion to Judaism took place only later.
You see that? Read.
Says Masudi states positively that the king of the Khazars became a Jew in the caliphate of Harun al-Rashid in the years of 786 to 809 CE. This may well refer to the Reformation circa 800 under Obadiah, of which the reply of Joseph Speaks, S.P. Tolstoy, has sought to explain the Khazar conversion to Judaism as a result of the conquest of the Khwarizm by the Arab general Muslim Ibn Qutaybah in 712.
Now you see that? We can stop right there. Brief little history. The Khazarian Empire converted to Judaism.
They were converts.
They are converts. Y'all gonna like this one. Next article. This one's funny. I found this, I started dying laughing. I said, I'm gonna keep this in the pocket. Go ahead, read that out. Read the title.
It says, Forward Jewish Independent and Nonprofit. It says, why did 23andMe...
23andMe, which is, the whole DNA thing, and you trace all of that. Go ahead, read that.
Why did 23andMe tell Ashkenazi Jews that they could be descendants from Khazars?
Everybody clap it up, man. You see that? God damn. Y'all gonna like this one more. Go to the next article, wow.
Bring it out.
We gotta read it. Go to the next article, wow. Lord Christ. Go to the next article. Watch this one. Yeah. All we're gonna do is read the top. We got the article, the sources there. Y'all can read them on your own, man. Go ahead.
Says
read the source.
This is from Haaretz.com. It says, how white were the Israelites?
How white were the Israelites? Yeah.
This facial reconstruction may be surprising. It says Israeli anthropologist,
watch this,
claims the subjects of the kingdom of Judea.
The subjects of the kingdom of Judea
look more like black Africans.
They look more like black Africans. You can't make this up. Come on, man. Let's keep it moving. Now let's talk about the Balfour Declaration. Anybody knows when the Balfour Declaration was created?
48.
Huh?
48.
Nope.
It was not.
Nope, it was not created in 1948. (1917). Well, I guess blurry when you can see it, right? It's good enough. It's 1917. Right before the end of World War I. This was created.
Wasn't
What's
it
good,
Salakia, wasn't it supposed to be around the time of the Great Depression over here
No,
in 1920s?
this is after the Great Depression. I mean, before the Great Depression.
Yeah.
The Great Depression happened in the 20s.
Yeah, the 20s, yeah.
After World War I.
Yeah.
The 20s leading into the 30s, and then America got out of the Great Depression because of Germany and the rise of Nazism, which a lot of people don't talk about. You know what I'm saying? So, and you're gonna see who, you know, just read it out. Just read it. We're gonna talk about it. Read it.
The Foreign Office, November 2nd, 1917, says, Dear Lord Rothschild.
Dear Lord Rothschild. Go ahead.
I have much pleasure in conveying to you on behalf of His Majesty's government the following declaration of sympathy with Jewish Zionist aspirations which has been submitted to.
Go ahead.
Okay. Which has been submitted to and approved by the cabinet. His Majesty's government view with favor the establishment in Palestine of a national home. For the Jewish people.
For the Jewish, those converts in Europe. Go ahead.
And will use their best endeavors to facilitate the achievement of this object. It being clearly understood that nothing shall be done which may prejudice the civil and religious rights of existing non-Jewish communities in Palestine, or the rights and political status enjoyed by Jews in any other country.
Scroll down, Abaya.
It says, I should be grateful if you would bring this declaration to the knowledge of the Zionist Federation.
This is the beginning of the Balfour Declaration. All right? That eventually, what eventually went through, yes, that eventually went through in 1948. Next link. Next link. We're going to talk about it a little more, right? From Britannica. Britannica.com. Very good starting point to some to history. You know, I always employ brothers to buy books. Y'all want books recommended? Y'all got my number. Yeah, read.
The Balfour Declaration from the United Kingdom in 1917.
Go ahead.
The Balfour Declaration, November 2nd, 1917. The statement of British support for the establishment in Palestine of a national home for the Jewish people. It was made in a letter from Arthur James Balfour, the British Foreign Secretary, to Lionel Walter Rothschild.
The devil, yeah.
Second Baron Rothschild of Tring, a leader of the Anglo-Jewish community.
Bunch of crackers, go ahead.
Though the precise meaning of the correspondence has been disputed, its statements were generally contradictory to both the Sykes-Picot Agreement, a secret convention between Britain and France, and the Hussein-McMahon correspondence, an exchange of letters between the British High Commissioner in Egypt, Sir Henry McMahon, and Hussein ibn Ali, then Emir of Mecca, which in turn contradicted one another.
Jump down right here where it says the document. Jump down right there. Yeah?
The document, however, said nothing of the political or national rights of these communities and did not refer to them by name. Nevertheless, the declaration aroused enthusiastic hopes among Zionists. And seemed the fulfillment of the aims of the World Zionist Organization.
Keep reading.
The British government hoped that the declaration would rally Jewish opinion, especially in the United States, to the side of the Allied powers against the Central Powers during World War I.
During World War I. And we read earlier what happened in World War I. A secret committee in Germany surrendered when the people that were at war, while they were winning in the battlefront, they like, why would you surrender if we're winning this war? It's because of this. Go ahead.
Says the British government hoped that the declaration would rally Jewish opinion, especially in the United States, to the side of the Allied powers against the Central Powers during World War I. They hoped also that the settlement in Palestine of a pro-British Jewish population might help to protect the approaches to the Suez Canal.
The Suez Canal, go ahead.
In neighboring Egypt, and thus ensure a vital communication route to British colonial possessions in India.
All right, Ezekiel 36. Matter of fact, we got one more link. Slack. Let's go to the next link. This a funny one. You know I gotta throw funny ones in there. Like I threw earlier, the rabbi saying black people are monkeys. See that? They hate you. Remember that. This one's a funny one. Yeah, read that out.
Says
this is etymon.com, right? Etymology, yeah?
The citizen of the state of Israel.
Or Israeli is a citizen of the state of Israel, go ahead.
It says from 1948 from Israel, Hebrew national designation, the suffix with an I, also used in English as an adjective. It distinguishes.
Go ahead.
The citizens of the modern state from the ancient people who had been known in English since the 14th century as Israelites.
It distinguishes from the modern state from the ancient people of the book. They know they not the Jews, man. Come on, man. Ezekiel 36:5. We almost done.
This is Ezekiel chapter 36, verse 5.
Come on.
Therefore thus saith the Lord God,
Surely
in the fire of my jealousy,
go ahead.
Have I spoken against the residue of the heathen, and against all Idumeans,
and against all the crackers, go ahead,
which have appointed my land into their possession.
See that? They appointed the Lord's land into their possession. Go ahead.
With the joy of all their heart.
With the joy of all their heart. Go ahead.
With despiteful minds.
To
cast it out for a prey.
Let's go to Isaiah 14:12.
Isaiah chapter 14, verse 12.
Go ahead.
How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning?
That's what they're going to say when America falls. How have you fallen from heaven, O light bearer? Go ahead.
How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations?
Go ahead.
For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God.
What's the stars of God? The children of Israel. Go ahead.
I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation.
This is what I want. I will also sit upon the mount of the congregation. The same thing that's being said in this chapter is also being said in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. We ain't going to get that though. Keep reading.
I will sit on the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north.
In the sides of the north. Where's the sides of the north? Precept. Go ahead. Yep. Psalms 48:2. You're right. Psalms 48:2 is the precept to give you the understanding where the sides of the north is right here.
Psalms 48:2. Beautiful for situation. The joy of the whole earth is Mount Zion.
Is what?
Mount Zion.
Is Mount Zion.
On the sides of the north.
On the sides of the north. Finish it up.
The city of the great king.
The city of the great king. Jump down to verse 20 in Isaiah 14.
This is Isaiah chapter 14, verse 20. Thou shalt not be joined with them in burial, because thou hast destroyed thy land and slain thy people. The seed of evildoers.
The what?
Seed of evildoers.
The what?
Seed of evildoers.
The seed of evildoers. Go ahead.
Shall never be renowned.
Shall never be renowned.
No.
You good. Let's go to that video. Next video. Next video. The seed of evildoers. All right. Hold on, let me mute myself real quick before you start it. A second. All right, go ahead, Bayak. You could, whenever you.
And welcome to Tucker Carlson tonight. It is a stable of so-called conspiracy theories that at the highest levels of politics and finance, there is a shadowy cabal of pedophiles who use their power to hide the crimes they commit against children. That people think that. Sounds pretty far out to us, too dark and strange to be true. And of course, we are not obviously endorsing that idea. On the other hand, you can kind of see why people might believe it. Jeffrey Epstein, for example. Epstein continued to dine with business moguls and heads of state long after he was arrested for having sex with minors. How did he do that? Why did nobody say anything? Why did people keep eating with him? Well, at the very least, we can conclude based on the evidence that there is a tolerance for pedophilia among the most powerful in our society, a tolerance that you would not find in, say, your average middle-class American family. Some of the rich really are different that way. That's clearly true. And in case you need more evidence of that, consider Balenciaga. Balenciaga is what they call a luxury brand. Balenciaga is a company that sells $1,100 sneakers and cotton sweatshirts for $1,500 to people who've literally run out of things to buy. You're probably not doing your back-to-school shopping at Balenciaga, but some people apparently are. So this week, Balenciaga rolled out a new ad campaign on Instagram, and the selling point of the ads was sex with children. One photograph showed a very young girl lying face down on a couch with candles, empty wine glasses, and a dog collar on a coffee table in front of her. Another picture showed the same girl, a toddler, holding a teddy bear dressed in sexual bondage gear, including a leather harness. And then, in case you missed the point, we're for pedophilia at Balenciaga. Another picture made it explicit. That picture showed pages from a Supreme Court opinion that struck down a law designed to fight child pornography. Whoever staged the photo shoot made certain to include a portion of that opinion that used the word sex or sexual 4 times. And of course, that was not an accident. Balenciaga wanted you to notice. So this seemed like a big story to us, as we told you last night. Here you have a major international retail brand promoting kiddie porn and sex with children, and not promoting it subtly, but right out in the open. No healthy society can tolerate that, and in fact, none ever have tolerated it. There's never been a time in American history where pedophilia was considered anything other than the worst thing, the most horrifying crime imaginable. Pedophiles famously get killed in prison because even murderers consider them immoral. That's how out of bounds it is and has always been to sexualize children. It's totally unacceptable. But apparently, it's not unacceptable anymore. Academics have redefined child molesters as minor attracted persons. And the point, of course, is to send the message that actually it's not that big a deal. It's just a different kind of love. So maybe not surprisingly, given that trend, apart from a few isolated exceptions in the American media, almost all outlets completely ignored Balenciaga's kiddie porn ad campaign. There was not a single story about it in the New York Times this morning, or in Jeff Bezos' Washington Post, or on CNN or NBC. There was no talk of an investigation or a boycott. The usual outrage merchants stayed completely silent because they weren't outraged. Balenciaga ultimately issued a statement saying it was going to punish the photographer who did the shoot, like it was the photographer's fault and they didn't know about it. And after that, the story effectively died. And that means that the CEO of Balenciaga, a man called Cedric Charbit, will not become a social pariah for what his company has just done. He will continue, just as Jeffrey Epstein continued, to enjoy his busy social life totally unpenalized with his many fabulous celebrity friends. Here he is, for example, with the mayor of New York City, Eric Adams, who looks very excited to be with him. Now, we found that picture, by the way, in less than a minute online. Yet, as far as we know, apart from us on this show, no one has asked Eric Adams about it, and it's likely that nobody ever will. And the reason is simple. The media have no interest in covering the sexualization of children. Their interest, and it's a very intense interest, tellingly so, is in destroying anyone who complains about the sexualization of children or who even notices it. Noticing it, they tell us, is an attack on the LGBT community. So the assumption here, their assumption apparently, is that gay people are in favor of molesting kids and, of course, in favor of performing genital mutilation on minors. But that's absurd. No normal person is for this, gay or not. It's not anti-gay to oppose kiddie porn or to feel horror at the fact that doctors are cutting the breasts off of healthy teenage girls. These are crimes, and most gay people think they're crimes. Why wouldn't they think that? Protecting children from adults who want to sexually exploit them is a basic human instinct, and it's a noble instinct. And yet NBC News is doing its best to redefine that instinct as a crime. Yesterday, NBC brought on its law enforcement expert, by the way, a former assistant director of the FBI, to warn viewers that anyone who complains about the sexualization of children will be punished by the legal system, will be sued into bankruptcy and destroyed. Watch this.
There was going to be a drag brunch the next day at Club Q. And that's a way to get kids to see, hey, look, it's a person, doesn't necessarily look like the people that you see every day at the store or whatever. But these are real people with lives and emotions. They like the same stories that you do. There's nothing sexualized about it. But every time there's one of those now, the Proud Boys show up because there's an account on the internet called Libs of TikTok that's been pushed by, Tucker Carlson and the Babylon Bee and the far right.
Tucker in particular seems fixated on this anti-queer panic. In addition to his diatribes against drag shows, he's platformed anti-trans activists, used particularly vicious and extreme rhetoric to attack children's hospitals for providing trans youth and medical care.
If he's a consumer of the people we just rattled off, from Lauren Boebert to Tucker Carlson, well, let's get it out.
Let me take the video off. Take this video off. So you see the seed of evildoers. Just as they push LGBT, now what are they pushing? Pederasty and pedophilia. They're pushing it right in front of your faces, and they're not getting punished for it. And then the LGBT is backing them up. Wisdom of Solomon 14 and 23. But we crazy when we say this place got to be destroyed. We crazy.
This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, verse 20. 23. For whilst they slew their children in sacrifices, or used secret ceremonies.
Go ahead.
Or made revelings of strange rites.
Just like they're still not talking about what's going on in the border with all the kids from South Central America and Mexico completely going missing. And the parents are getting sent back to the country, but the kids never get sent back. What's happening to those kids? You know, child pornography is the #1 porn watched on earth.
Goodness gracious.
On earth. But nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to talk about the seed of evil doers, man. These people are the devil. And until you realize that shit, we're going to stay in the condition that we're in. Salakia for the language, but watching stuff like this makes me upset. Makes me very upset. Go to the next article, bro. It's ridiculous. Let me blow it up on the screen real quick, Salakia. Yeah, read that out.
It's from ostarapublications.com. This is authentic history, the Ku Klux Klan.
Now, they try to make this fake, but it's a person's daughter that was the leader of the Ku Klux Klan. Their daughter wrote this, wrote an entire book. Read that out.
It says by Susan Lawrence Davies. The only officially authorized history of the original Ku Klux Klan, written by the daughter of the founder.
Written by the daughter of the founder. Go ahead.
Of that organization in Alabama.
Go ahead.
Written to counteract the misrepresentations made about the original KKK and its activities. This now suppressed book contains many astonishing insider insights, such as the KKK was financed from England by the Jewish.
By the what?
By the Jewish.
By the what?
By the Jewish.
Okay.
Former Secretary of State for the Confederacy, Benjamin P. Judah.
Benjamin P. Judah.
Who fled the South at the end of the Civil War. The KKK's chief chaplain was a Roman Catholic.
Roman Catholic. Okay.
The KKK's chief justice was North America's 33rd degree Mason leader.
Amazing. Go ahead.
The hood for which the KKK became famous was in fact outlawed by the original organization because so many people were using its disguise to commit crimes in the name of the KKK.
Go ahead.
The original KKK's primary activity was political in nature, and their officers in various legislative bodies.
Officers in various legislative bodies, go ahead.
Reaching as high as the U.S. Senate.
Reaching as high as the U.S. Senate. Go ahead.
Were focused on restoring white rule to southern states.
Amazing. Go ahead.
When official KKK posses were formed, they were under strict orders never to dispense mob justice or engage in whippings, lynchings, or other abuse.
Psych. All right, let's go to the next link. We're going to talk about a certain individual. Next link. Now this, once again, the Jewish Virtual Library. I didn't make this website. This is an Israeli-owned website. Okay? Judah Benjamin. Yeah.
Says one of the most misunderstood figures in American Jewish history is Judah P. Benjamin, whom some historians have called the brains of the Confederacy.
The what?
The brains of the Confederacy.
The brains of the Confederacy. Go ahead.
Even as others tried to blame him for the South's defeat. Born in the West Indies in 1811, to observant Jewish parents, Benjamin was raised in Charleston, South Carolina. A brilliant child at 14,
Brilliant devil.
attended Yale Law School, but was expelled soon afterwards for improper conduct. After Yale expelled him, he moved to New Orleans where he studied law and eventually passed the bar exam. A founder of the Illinois Central Railroad, a state legislator, and a planter who owned 140 slaves.
What?
And a planter who owned 140 slaves.
Amazing. Go ahead.
Until he sold his plantation in 1850. Judah Benjamin was elected to the United States Senate from Louisiana in 1852. When the slave states seceded in 1861, Confederate President Jefferson Davis appointed Benjamin as Attorney General, making him the first Jew.
The what?
The first Jew.
The first Amalekite. Go ahead.
To hold a cabinet-level office in an American government, and the only Confederate cabinet member who did not own slaves. Benjamin later served as the Confederacy's Secretary of War.
The Confederacy's Secretary of War. Go ahead.
And then Secretary of State.
And then Secretary of State. Pull up the book. Pull up the book. Now you're familiar with Judah Benjamin. All right. Go to page 173. Page 173. The book is called, while he's getting it, the book is called The Secret Founding of America, the real story of Freemasons, Puritans, and the battle for the New World. Page 173, go down. Down. You're going to start to sit. Right there. Rothschild's plan. Read.
So central to this plan was the Rothschild family. We have seen that Mayor Amschel Rothschild funded Weishaupt's order of the Illuminati in the 1770s. He died in 1812, the richest man ever to have lived.
Mm-hmm.
He had 5 sons who controlled 5 banks in London, Paris, Frankfurt, Vienna, and Naples. Different branches of the family influenced the politics of Britain, France, Germany, Austria, and Italy.
Read.
The Rothschilds wanted to start a central bank in America. The Second Bank of America, created by James Madison in 1816, had collapsed in 1836. Mayor Amschel's grandson Lionel, Nathan's son, and his son James were behind the funding of both North and South in the planned division.
North and South in the planned division. Go ahead.
The North was to be annexed to Canada as a British colony via Lionel Rothschild, who was based in London.
Go ahead.
It was Lionel who in 1875 would buy the Suez Canal for Disraeli for $4 million from the Khedive Said Pasha, a demonstration of the Rothschild power at this time.
Mm-hmm.
The South was to be given to Napoleon III of France via James Rothschild, who was based in Paris.
Mm-hmm.
The Rothschilds' funding of the North via August Belmont, real name August Schoenberg, a cousin of the Seligman family of Frankfurt. He had been sent to America in 1837 to run a bank in New York City and establish himself by buying government bonds.
Mm-hmm.
He later became financial advisor to the president. In 1857, a meeting in London convened by Mazzini's Illuminati decided that there should be conflict between North and South.
Scroll down up.
And Lionel Rothschild used Belmont as an emissary together with J. Cook, the Seligman brothers, Inspire, and Co. James Rothschild controlled the South via the Rothschild agent Judah P. Benjamin.
Who?
Judah P. Benjamin.
Judah P. Benjamin. The former of what? The KKK. We just read that. Was in control by Rothschilds. Finish it up.
It's crazy. Of the law firm of Slidell, Benjamin and Conrad in Louisiana, who later became Secretary of State for the Confederacy in 1862.
Mm-hmm.
His law partner, John Slidell, August Belmont's wife's uncle, was the Confederate envoy to France. Slidell's daughter was married to Baron Frederick de Egerland in Frankfurt, who was related to the Rothschilds and acted for them. Slidell was the representative of the South who borrowed money from the Anglers to finance the Confederacy.
Mm-hmm.
So Rothschilds controlled the North via August Belmont, later financial advisor to the president, and the South via Judah Benjamin, Secretary of the State for the Confederacy, and Slidell the Langer family.
You see that? So, the Rothschilds were both in charge of Canada, the North, and the Confederacy, which is the South. And they had their agents everywhere in order to fulfill their world agenda and their world plan. Let's go to the next article. We almost done. Bear with me. Anybody heard of the Hermetic hypothesis? Huh? No? The Hermetic hypothesis, let me read it. I'm going to read it verbatim, and then we're going to get into it. Google that real quick. Google the Hermetic hypothesis so people can get familiar with what that is. Got to know these things.
I've heard of it.
Read that.
The Hermetic hypothesis states that everything of value ever found in Africa.
Everything of value ever found in Africa, go ahead.
Was brought there by the Hamites.
Was brought there by the Hamites. Watch this.
Allegedly a branch of the Caucasian race.
A what?
Allegedly a branch of the Caucasian race.
Allegedly a branch of the Caucasian race. So the Egyptians were Caucasian. All these people that were of high status and high value of ancient and antiquity, they were all Caucasian. This is what the Hermetic hypothesis is. Exactly.
This is in full effect.
Exactly. Now let's go to go back to the article. Watch this.
It says Charles Gabriel Seligman, who we just read about, and the Hermetic hypothesis.
We just read about him where? With the Rothschilds.
Nuts.
Go ahead. Everything's linked, man. Go ahead. Look at this dude.
On December 24th, 1873, British physician and ethnologist Gabriel Seligman was born. Seligman's main ethnographic work described the culture of the Veda people of Sri Lanka and the Shilluk people of the Sudan. He was a proponent of the Hermetic hypothesis, according to which some civilizations of Africa were thought to have been founded by Caucasoid Hermetic peoples.
You see that? By Caucasoid Hermetic peoples. What the? They just making shit up. This is how they falsified and changed history. You understand? Through their plots and secret rites. Keep reading. Watch this.
Seligman was born into a middle-class Jewish family.
Read it again.
He was born into a middle-class Jewish family in London.
Come on, man.
Crazy.
He was a Jew. We don't even gotta read anymore. That's all I needed. That's all I needed, brother.
Yo, if you research every bad thing that has literally happened on this planet, their hand is
Why
on
do you think I brought
that shit is crazy.
a little bit less with the talking? Why do you think I brought seed of evildoers? They are the seed of evildoers. You understand that?
Yeah.
Next one. Next one.
It makes sense because the Lord said we're going to war with them from generation to generation. I get why now.
Right. Now look at this. Nah, don't scroll nowhere. Leave it right. It was exactly where I wanted it. As soon as you click it, it should go exactly where you want it. Nah, hold on. Hold on. Now I gotta look. 1 second. It's let me see which one. 1 second. Don't you can leave it alone for a second. That's the wish. Right here, read that. Read that. This is from the Mishnah Nadab 5 and 4. Right? Chapter 5, verse 4. This is what the Jews read. This is what they hold more dear than the Torah and the Bible. Read that.
It says, a girl who is 3 years old and 1 day old, whose father arranged her for betrothal.
What?
Fuck yeah.
Read it again.
It says, a girl who is 3 years and 1 day old, whose father arranged her for betrothal, is betrothed through intercourse.
Is what?
Oh.
Hold on. Let's bring it down a notch. Read it again.
It says, a girl who is 3 years old, 3 years and 1 day old, whose father arranged her betrothal, is betrothed through intercourse.
Yeah.
As the halakhic status of intercourse with her is that of intercourse in all halakhic senses. And in case where the childless husband of a girl 3 years and 1 day old dies, if his brother the Yavam engages in intercourse with her, he acquires her as his wife. And if she is married, A man other than her husband is liable for engaging in intercourse with her due to violation of the prohibition against intercourse with the married woman. And if she is impure due to menstruation, she imparts impurity to one who engages in intercourse with her, who then renders her impure all the layers of bedding beneath him, rendering them impure like the upper bedding covering of Azab, in the sense that it assumes first-degree ritual impurity and does not become a primary source of ritual impurity, and it renders impure food and drink, but it does not render impure people and vessels.
All right, go to the next one now.
What's that article?
That's the Mishnah. That's not even an article.
What's that?
That's a book.
That's their book that they hold. Oral traditions.
What's that book called again?
The Mishnah. I'll send it to y'all.
Oh yeah, the sages wrote that.
The missions.
Now read that.
This is the Babylonian Talmud from Yawasap 63a. It says, what does the verse, this time she isn't bones of my bones, flesh of my flesh mean? It comes to teach us that the Adam had intercourse with all the animals.
With what? Come on. Bring it down, man.
It comes to teach us that Adam had intercourse with all the animals and beasts and was not satisfied. Literally, his mind was not cooled till he had intercourse with Eve. The Midrash reads the phrase this time to infer other sexual encounters that were failed. Why do you think the rabbis interpreted this time in this particular way? They sleep with animals. What does this text suggest about the uniqueness of the human sexual experience?
All right, that's it, man. Let's go to the next one. I'm just showing y'all what the hell they teach, what they read, but then they talk shit about us.
Yo, these people.
This nigga talking about? Lord Christ, bro. Which one was this one? I think this one. Go to 5. I think this one's at 5. Go down. Hold on. You're going down too much. At 5. The numbers are on the right-hand side. Yep. 5. Read that.
Says Rav Oshaya raised an objection to the opinion of Rav from Mishnah. With regard to an adult man who engaged in intercourse with a minor girl less than 3 years old.
Less than what?
Less than 3 years old.
Amazing. Go ahead.
Or a minor boy less than 9 years old.
Or what?
Or a minor boy less than 9 years old.
Go ahead.
Who engaged in intercourse with an adult woman.
Go ahead.
Or a woman who had her hymen ruptured by wood.
I don't know how a woman will have her hymen ruptured by wood. I'm just had to put that out there. Go ahead.
Or any other foreign object. The marriage contract for each of these women is 200 dinars. This is the statement of Rabbi Meir, and the rabbis say the marriage contract of a woman whose hymen was ruptured by wood is 100 dinars.
All right, that's it, man. I'm just showing you what the hell is in there, Talmud and Mishnah and oral traditions. And I can keep going. I could have made a whole class on this because it's nothing but wickedness, man. These people are evil. Revelation 11 and 18. Revelation 11 and 18.
Revelation chapter 11, verse 18.
Go ahead.
And the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead, that they should be judged, and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants, the prophets,
Go ahead.
and to the saints and to them that fear thy name.
Go ahead.
Small and great.
This is what I want. Go ahead.
And shouldest destroy them.
And shouldest what?
Shouldest destroy them.
And should destroy them. Go ahead.
Which destroyeth the earth.
Which destroy the earth. The Lord is going to destroy those that destroy the earth. Deuteronomy 33 and 29. Deuteronomy 33 and 29.
This is Deuteronomy chapter 33, verse 29.
Go ahead.
Happy art thou, O Israel, who is like unto thee, O people saved by the Lord.
O people saved by the Lord. Only Israel, not no heathen. Go ahead.
The shield of thy help, and who is the sword of thy excellency.
Go ahead.
And thine enemies shall be found liars.
And the enemies are going to be found liars. Go ahead.
Unto thee.
Uh-huh.
And thou shalt tread upon their high places.
And we're going to tread upon their high places. Let's go to this last article for the finishing touch of the class. Last article. This is from the Times of Israel. Read that out.
Who Israelites are there, and how worried should the Jews be? How many Hebrew Israelites are there, and how worried should the Jews be?
These dudes is terrified. They don't know what. They are scared that we are waking up.
Notice they only put black or quote unquote melanated brothers in there.
Of course. Of course. But you see, this is what's going on.
Don't divide and conquer.
This is what's going on. Right? So let's go to 1 Corinthians 4 and 9. Last precepts. Last precept.
1 Corinthians 14.
4 and 9. 1 Corinthians 4 and 9.
This is 1 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 9. For I think that God has set forth us, the apostles, last.
So, for I think that God has sent forth us, the apostles, last. Read.
As it were appointed to death.
As it were appointed to death. We go out in the streets and we teach things that are controversial. And we make uproars in the city. And we make people angry. And we can die for this word. The people who set the foundation for all the variety of schools and camps you see died for this word. Teaching this truth in the 80s and 90s was no joke. People fought, people got shot, and people died for this word. And this can happen again. You understand? Read.
For we are made a spectacle unto the world.
We're made a spectacle unto the world, man. They look at us like, who are these guys? These guys are a cult. We're made a spectacle. Go ahead.
And to angels.
Go ahead.
And to men.
Read.
We are fools for Christ's sake.
We are fools for Christ's sake. We don't give a damn what people think. Go ahead.
But ye are wise in Christ.
But we are wise in Christ. Because the Israelite doctrine is undefeated. Because it is not ours, it is the doctrine of the Lord, man.
That's right.
You understand that? Read.
We are weak, but ye are strong.
We are weak, but ye are strong. Go ahead.
Ye are honorable.
Ye are honorable. Go ahead.
We are despised.
But we are despised, man. And with that, I say death to America. All right, let's rise and face the east. Rise and face the east. What you got? Something with somebody down there. Yeah, bring that up. Yeah.
This is Psalm chapter 149. Praise ye Yahweh, sing praise unto Yahweh a new song, and his praise in the congregation of the saints. Let Yasha'Allah rejoice in him that be made. Let the children of Zion be joyful in their king. Let them praise his name in his dance. Let them sing praises unto him with the timbrel and the harp. For Yahweh taketh pleasure in his people. He will beautify the meek with salvation. Let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them sing aloud upon their beds. Let the high praises of God be in their mouth, and the two-edged sword in their hand, to execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishments upon the people, to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron, to execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all his saints. Praise ye Yahweh. In the name of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, the Wadah Miyad, Aman.
Aman.
Amajim Shabbat. Amajim. Barak. Yahweh Shem Yahshai Barakatam.
Yahweh Shem Yahshai Barakatam.